as they cross the line. So the Knox sisters will round out the podium. Christian Pugh comes home in fourth. Mark Lasek is fifth. Miles Fortenbury falls back to sixth position. Into the pits they come. Now at the circuit, I hope you've enjoyed the... Oh.
We're just now live.
Okay. So for those of you at the circuit who enjoyed the first two races of this afternoon, we now are joined by our YouTube audience on the Texas Karting League YouTube channel. So a big hello and welcome to everybody watching or listening around the world to round number 4 of the Texas Karting League. You will excuse me at the circuit if I repeat myself, but we are now joined by our online audience. We have had 2 of 9 main events completed here at Speed Sports Racing Park. The 1 mile Speed Sports Racing Park in New Caney, Texas.
Yeah, so we're now getting ready for the 206 senior group to go out to the grid. All the engines are fired up, so down on the grid, they just got the 1 minute. It's going to be a lot of action in this race. I think a lot of people are going to be trying to prove their worth here before going into the other races they have. And as we've mentioned many times this weekend over the course of the broadcast, a lot of the guys up front aren't regular runners in TKL, but they're regular runners in a lot of other series, regionally and internationally, or not nationally, my bad. And, we are checking right now who's going to be who our starting grid is going to be.
Yes. Excuse me. We will get ourselves in. So the biggest field that we have here, L206 Senior, 23 drivers. They will be led to the grid by number 670, Jackson Young. Josie Chambers alongside Jackson on row number 1. Bryce Frank, Carter Kilgo, Landon Skinner, Reagan Seville, Samuel Doros, and Jacob Oliver. We will take you through there, but let me introduce our YouTube audience. We are in New Caney, Texas. We are 70 miles north of the Gulf of America, just outside Houston. The temperatures are in excess of 100 degrees. The skies overhead cloudless, glistening like the Caribbean Sea in blue. The trees that surround the back end of the circuit stand, offering no shelter to the drivers and the members of the paddock. The grass that separates the sun-beaten tarmac is changing from a luscious green to a somewhat abused brown, grey, tinges of yellow appearing. The marshals huddled under their very small tents out on the circuit. The paddock watching, enthralled, enraptured from beneath the steel-roofed dummy grid building. Spectators to my left, huddling under trees in their deck chairs with their dogs, looking over the fence line. Photographers lining the circuit. 23 four-stroke engined 206 drivers head through turn number 14, led by Jackson Young, Josie Chambers, into the tram lines. That deep, distant rumble of four-stroke motors head to the start line, lights out, through the fast left-hander at turn 1, the second right-hander, the sweeper at turn 2, and then left again at turn 3, behind the rental car building, at the bottom end of the circuit, out of my view at turn number 4. They return to my view through turn 5, at the long back stretch. Trees to the driver's left, lighting stanchions to the driver's right. End of the back straight, 180 degree, positive camber, a banked right-hander at turn 6, into switchback city. The carts flick right, they flick left, then right, and right again, out of switchback city, away from my commentary position, through the left-hand kink, into a heavy braking zone, the middle of the track, known as the boot, 180 degrees left. Then, as two drivers, the back of the field, kick up some dust on the outside of the corner. The lead group now comes through the fast left-hand kink at turn 13, hard on the brakes, in front of the spectator area and the pit lane. At turn number 14, across the front of the dummy grid of our commentary position, through a fast right-hand bend at turn 15, out onto another lap. That is this 1 mile Speed Sports Racing Park venue. Jackson Young continues to lead. Now, on the opening lap, there were spins for Lucas Caceres, for Grayson Holm. Unfortunately, Chris Trotke, the driver who lost his lower left leg in a motorbike accident, has now got a really cool prosthetic lower leg. It's one of the proper sort of Olympic athlete style carbon fiber lower legs, so he can carry on racing. Unfortunately, his race is run. He has parked his kart and got out and is watching from a marshal post at the exit of the boot. But up front, the black and silver liveried, black race suit, black crash helmet of Jackson Young leads a train of 9, 10, 11 carts through the sweepers down towards turn number 4. Hot on his heels, the 645 cart, Josie Chambers.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of packs form. At first, throughout the weekend, it was a couple packs of 4, a couple packs of 3 spread out, but now everyone's gotten up to speed. Everybody's learned what to do. Everyone's pace is getting closer to the leaders, and that's why you see this much larger group formed up here. And you can already see within that front group, there's a little bit here and there separation, but they're still very close racing and also much longer racing, a lot more laps to go in this race than they've been used to. As Jackson Young takes us through the final couple of corners now. But last lap, Bryce Frank dropped down 2 positions, but he's already a match even where he started at. But he's actually going to drop down another position. As I say that, Landon Skinner is going to jump up to 3rd position. That pack of 5 up front is bumper to bumper.
Yeah, no, indeed. Now, as I said earlier, the temperature is now over 100 degrees. It's 94 degrees according to our phones, but the humidity factor has said it feels like 101 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be 36, 37 degrees Celsius with humidity, which quite frankly is just unpleasant. But this is Texas in the summer. 5 the race lead through the boot. Up towards turn number 13 now. Still that silver and black liveried machine. Jackson Young, he's got those long, luminous yellow gloves planted at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on the steering wheel. Head down, being pushed along. Landon Skinner, the Seville Racing driver. Now, in the UK, that spelling is actually Savile Racing, but in the UK, we're not allowed to say the word Savile. It's problematic, put it that way, especially when it comes to kids and racing. Seville Racing into turn number 3, and here we go. Skinner to the inside at Switchback City. New leader, the all-black attack. Landon Skinner takes over the race lead. Now, sitting just behind the top 2. Chambers, Bryce Frank, Carter Kilgo. Kilgo in that electric blue, the metallic electric blue liveried machine. Landon Skinner, Adam. So what do you think went wrong for Landon Skinner? He started the heat race yesterday, 21st. Here he is leading the final.
Yeah, it's I believe it might have been an issue in qualifying for him, or maybe just a issue overall. Actually, we're gonna see now. Yeah, just something didn't go right in qualifying. Multiple seconds off pace.
I know why. He only did 2 flying laps in qualifying. So a mechanical issue for Skinner in qualifying. That's why he started so far back, Adam. Although when you walk into the shop here at the Speed Sports Racing Park, you will see Alan Rudolph, the gentleman who operates the circuit. You'll see a list of photos of fabled Alan Rudolph Academy drivers. Landon Skinner is one of those drivers. So the man has pedigree, and I don't mean chub.
Yeah, and he's part of that Seville Racing Group. We mentioned it once before, I believe, that this is Seville Racing's first time out here, or first time as a team in an event. And so far you can see a couple of the other members of that team further down the pack. But to have someone up front and your first time out,
oh yes,
there's a couple overlap in the drivers from trackside, who I believe is going away at the end of the year, that did a lot of TSRS stuff and a couple other events. But for Seville, they kind of take the reins of that and put a team together that is very competitive, as you can see.
Yeah, Reagan Seville being the team boss, would that be right? 8th position at the moment. We have got a lead group, 2, 4, 6, we've got 7 in the lead group. Then a gap of 1.2 seconds back to Reagan Seville in 8th. Rafael Kraus in 9th, Morgan Palais in 10th, and Joaquin Flores in 11th. Behind Flores in 12th is Eva Blem. Then there's a big gap back to Brody Simmons, Holton Edwards, John Mayo, Davis Buck, Abby Lindvall, Shelby Ramirez, Librado Fuentes, Colton Taylor, Grayson Pole, Lucas Caceres. So 22 of our 23 starters still running. Grayson Pole in perhaps the brightest livery machine here. It is a bright yellow. It's a DHL race suit. He's almost like gone and got an old Ryan Hunter Ray-esque IndyCar style race suit. He's got DHL backing. The cart is there, but we have got battling for the race lead. Adam Nunez. What has gone on? We got a new second place driver. I know that much for certain.
Yeah, it looks like the AR Academy drivers are starting to trade back and forth in that 4th and 5th position. It looks like someone's going to dip a wheel off on the exit of turn 11, and that's going to allow the front 2 to have a bit more of a gap. That's going to be good for those drivers, but not so ideal for everybody else trying to chase that lead, because I mentioned it briefly earlier today. You don't want to be in that 3rd place, because that opens the door for everyone else behind you. But sitting in 2nd place, especially if you can pull a gap away, is going to really open the door for a run. And also, there's still 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go in this race. So for them to, in 4th and 5th, or 3rd, 4th, 5th, to be battling too wide on the straightaway and allow those front 2 drivers of Skinner and Chambers to have even more of a run away, those 2 are going to like it and probably wait till the end of battle. They both have years of experience in this type of racing, both very talented 4-stroke drivers. And not to say that everyone else in that top 8 is not, but you know, it's a very aggressive class, especially as you get closer to the end. They've already passed the halfway mark a while ago. I believe this is our lap number 8 right now, going into lap number 9. But
still 2.5 minutes to go. Plenty of time.
Yeah, and you see Reagan Seville is kind of grouped up with Rafael Kraus. Those 2 are by themselves right now, and the front 4 have started to break away. So that front 2 lost their small gap they had, but the front 4 of Skinner, Chambers, Young, Kilgo are now building a bit of a gap on the rest of Frank, Oliver, and Doros.
Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. 2 minutes to go here in 206 Senior. And still, the Secret Seven lead the way. As Enid Blight reference for those who are listening. Skinner, Chambers, Young, Kilgo, Frank, Oliver, and Doros. Change down at the boot. New leader, 645. Josie Chambers, that black, orange. It's a Goodwood Cartways liveried cart from the Goodwood Cartways circuit up in Canada. So that chassis has travelled. He's got the Intrepid race suit on, the same Intrepid race suit that George Russell used when he won the European KF3 Championship, sadly, many moons ago indeed. I have to say that back in 2008, my parents went to Genk in Belgium for a round of the Formula Kart Stars Championship to act as stewards. And on that day in Genk in Belgium, a young driver flipped his go-kart in the rain and was trapped underneath it. That young driver had an Intrepid race suit on, just like that. That young driver was George Russell. That was 2008. How time flies. And yet, still the same coloured race suits appear at kart circuits around the world. I will say this is the 32nd event I have done all year, and this sport has taken me to all 6 continents on the globe. 32 events. This is only the second event where not one driver has got an Ayrton Senna replica crash helmet. Such is the legacy of the man. So out of 32 events, 30 have had. So I'm sure next year, when I come back for my annual Texas Karting League outing, that there will be a member of the paddock that has an Ayrton Senna replica crash helmet on. But into turn number 6, the end of the long back straight, the breeze drops. The Star-Spangled Banner that sits outside our commentary box wraps itself around its pole, hangs limply because the air continues to stifle. However, on track, the lead 7 will get the 2 sticks in the air next time around. That means 2 laps to go. 2 laps of this 15 turn, 1 mile race circuit. It is as flat as the Texas Panhandle. It's as flat as the Texas oil field, this circuit. It has lots of character. There we go. It's going to be Chambers, Skinner, Kilgo, Young, Oliver, Frank, and Doros. Those are your 7 contenders. They're going to head up the back straight now, Adam Nunez. We don't know who is going to win. We do know that Carter Kilgo in 3rd place, that electric blue livery cart, is looking good because on the outside, the 2 leaders are defending going into turn number 6 into Switchback City. Kilgo can't quite make it work.
Yeah, and looks like they're might be encountering some traffic as we get into the last couple of laps, but Kilgo's going to go ahead, get up into 2nd place. That's going to drop Young down to 3rd, potentially 4th, because everyone else has a run, and that's going to allow Josie Chambers to pull away a little bit. Everybody's fighting behind him, and Young, I believe, is back up to the front. Or no, Young's dropped down. It's Skinner who's in 2nd place. Kilgo's also dropped down another spot, and I believe that might be Jacob Oliver. We've mentioned him a couple times, so now he might be in contention for the win here, and Josie Chambers has a much better gap, much more ideal gap of 3/10 going into this final lap. White flag is in the air for these drivers going into turn 1, and that traffic I don't believe is going to be a problem already halfway down the straight, but we've got Chambers, Skinner, Oliver, Kilgo, Frank, Young, and Doros leading us away on this final lap. You have your front 4 that have broken away from the 3 behind them, and those 3 are going to be battling as well just as much. They all want to gain as many positions as they can, but now Chambers has lost his gap. Everyone is on his bumper looking for the right place to pass here.
They're coming out of Switchback City. Out of turn number 9, they head away from our commentary position. The Chak drinks left, then right. Hard on the brakes, Chambers on the anchors. Everyone else just bumps into him a little bit behind, doesn't force him off his course. Now, up the infield straight, 2 corners to go, he flicks left. Hard braking zone. Oh, Skinner to the inside. What a move to take the lead from Landon Skinner. Chambers gets swamped. Kilgo. Oh, Kilgo with his nose cone There on the last corner, checkered flag goes out with a dive bomb. Daniel Ricciardo, ex-Formula One driver, coined the phrase, sometimes you've just got to lick the stamp and send it. That was a lick the stamp and send it moment, because as Chambers came around the left-hander at turn number 13, he set his kart up on the left-hand side of the track for the right-hand hairpin at turn number 14. Skinner just went, yep, to the inside, stood on the brakes on the apex of the right-hand hairpin, and then got the run off. And in their very first race meeting, one of their very first race meetings, Seville Racing and Landon Skinner are victorious in L206 Seniors. Josie Chambers comes home in second, Jackson Young third, Samuel Doros, who sat at the back of that 7-kart lead battle all race, comes home in fourth position. Jacob Oliver was fifth. Bryce Frank, sixth. And fourth, I got to say, Carter Kilgo, he may have the best looking kart. Yes, he was caught out there at the last thing, but, you know, he did come round the last corner kicking his nose cone out. That is an undeniable fact that was happening directly in front of me as I'm talking about it. Unfortunately, he finishes seventh. Raphael Kraus, eighth. Reagan Seville. What a result for Reagan. I mean, eighth place for Reagan. He's going to be more happy with the fact that his team have just won.
Yeah, and it's a way to maximize the weekend for Landon Skinner, especially after only having 2 people behind you in the biggest class of this weekend to start and ending the weekend on a win in the final. Obviously, very patient driver, very smart driver, and as you said, just knew exactly when to make the move work. But he also had, once again, the biggest mover of this race. I believe he got biggest mover in every race this weekend so far, going from 21st in Heat 1 to 9th starting the second heat, and I believe he started 4th in this one. And once again, is going to be. There's no more races this weekend, sadly, but I believe with this heat, no one's going to complain about that too much. But
well, we got no more races, but no more races for those drivers. Those drivers, you can stick a fork in them. They are done. So that will be main event number 3 out of 9 complete. I'm going to go and unfurl the Star Spangled Banner from its pole. It is wrapped around said pole. I'm going to do that while Adam Nunes, I will introduce you, the audience, to Adam Nunes. Adam is a aspiring iRacing commentator. He's done some iRacing. He works a bit for Kart Chaser, and he has done a lot of technical work around the sport. He is a driver as well. He has only ever commentated live from a kart circuit once, and that's this weekend. And he's doing it with no cameras, old school radio broadcast only. Most 3 important things about being a commentator: public service broadcasting, inform, educate, entertain. I'll do the entertainment, you do the information and the education. How's that, Adam? But no, you drive these karts while I go in and fill that banner and check the weather. Just tell the public why the 4-stroke categories are such an important stepping stone into karting. What makes them so accessible? What makes it so much fun? And what skills you learn?
Yeah, so the 4-stroke racing is a really big scene in America mainly. And in terms of accessibility, you've got different chassis, you've got different engines. Engines are a lot cheaper compared to your 2-stroke stuff, as compared to a KA, as compared to your Rotax. And, you know, looking at the cost for the season as well, your engine maintenance is going to be a bit better. You don't have to rebuild it as often as you would in a KA, which is it's kind of the step above, I would say, for the 206 racing. But it also teaches you a lot of the racecraft stuff, because you don't have the same exit speed that you will. You can't just step on the throttle and get out of there. It's going to be a lot more keeping your momentum up, keeping the speed going and working with people, waiting for the right opportunity, as we saw in this last race with Landon Skinner. But as we're talking about the informational side of things, I've got your 206 junior grid right now. Clayton Stiles, last race we saw him in this morning in the pre-final, it was a very patient drive for him. You know, he wasn't kind of up at the front the entire running, and then whenever it mattered in the last 2 laps, that's when he got it done. So Clayton Stiles starting on pole position, Nico Orbezo starting in second, Sawyer Chambers in third, Levi Metter in fourth. Your third row is going to be Simon Nguyen and Mia Johnson. Mia Johnson didn't have the best heat race, but made up for it in the pre-final. And you've got Max Estrada alongside Dylan Silver in 7th and 8th. Malik Muhammad in 9th, Cole Riquet in 10th, and Davis Buck on our timing sheet is going to be in the Rotax racing. So you'll not see him out on track. We've got 10 drivers to watch here. And I think, you know, the front 4, they were battling really tight. I think Mia Johnson's going to be a bit more part of the conversation now that she doesn't have to start from the back this race, but still everyone getting ready, getting a little bit antsy. It's not the same class size as we saw last time around, but it is still going to be very competitive up at the front like we just saw. The 206 racing, we were talking about it. It's going to be keeping your momentum, and that's what these guys have to do. You have a couple drivers that know each other, Stiles and Orbeso, both teammates, but also the gloves come off when you get to the final. You've got 12 minutes of racing plus 2 laps to go here. And we are getting ready to, they're coming through the final corner at their pace speed, keeping it real slow. The marshals have been doing a good job of making sure that everybody is, you know, keeping it safe.
I can give you a weather update. It's hot. There we go. We'll move on. This was the BBC weather forecast brought to you by the World Service. She hot, I tell you. Right. Junior 206, the 4-stroke class, 2, 4, 6, 8 drivers. Some of these drivers racing Junior Rotax as well. And it's going to be Clayton Stiles and the first ever Texas Karting League driver to qualify for the grand finals, Nico Orbezo on the front row. Lights are out. We're off and racing. Through the sweep as we go to the bottom end of the circuit. 10 karts go in to turn 4. Count them out. Yep, they're all still there, with 4 wheels attached, pointing in roughly the right direction.
The 4 wheels attached is a pretty important part to have. We've seen a couple of drivers this weekend already not have the same luck, but as we talked about it, pack racing, this is the ideal scenario for those front 2. They've got a bit of a breakaway on 3rd position, but we still are not at the end of lap 1. You could see some gaps brought down, but those teammates, they're going to work together a little bit more because they know in a long race like this, you've got to be very patient for when to make your moves. You don't want to fight the whole time, allow everyone to stay right up with you. It's a better strategy to kind of work together and build a gap on those guys if you can, which these 2 guys, they have the pace to do that.
Yeah, so at the end of lap number 1, Clayton Stiles, that grey Iron Rock race suit for Iron Rock Motorsports leads, but it's Sawyer Chambers for Reed Motorsports, Cameron Reed's team, the young lady who impresses so many. As I said earlier, for those that are just joining us on YouTube, Cameron Reed, the student of Lafayette University, she won a $10,000 entrepreneurial prize, courtesy of the university, which she has invested into her race team. And that race team, it runs CRG chassis, black and white livery with a red fleur-de-lis on them. And as a Welshman, or half Welsh, half American, the fleur-de-lis is like a magnet towards me because so many symbols, including the Welsh rugby team, of which less said about the better at the moment, I have to say, has the fleur-de-lis as its logo, as one of its logos. Stiles leads Chambers, leads Orbezo. That iron grey race suit, the Iron Rock Motorsports team. White cart of Stiles being pushed along by Sawyer Chambers. And no longer being pushed along by Sawyer Chambers because Orbezo gets to the inside of Chambers going through turn number 6. Now we flick left through turn 7, right again through turn 8. That switchback city, Orbezo has to fall back in line.
Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a send from Orbeso, lick the stamp and sent it, but this early on might be a bit of a risk. You know, it's going to allow Styles to try to pull a gap, but he doesn't. That's going to be a clean move for him. He's going to get into second position. Took a look earlier in the lap, got it done this time around. But this is going to be a different situation for Styles this race, because the last race he capitalized on being in the back of that pack and being patient, but now he's going to be the one leading it away. He's going to be the one to have to set the tone for the race. And, you know, he's a very adaptable driver. I think he's going to be able to do that, but it's the situational awareness. And I think the two drivers behind him are very hungry for a win, just like you would expect anyone to be.
Yeah, now you've got, of course, you've got 10 very hungry drivers out on circuit. The top three are as you were. Levi Meador in fourth position, car number 816. That is, again, the traditional factory livery CRG body kit, the black and orange of CRG. And then behind Meador, we got another three-kart battle between Simon Newen, Malik Mohammed and Mia Johnson. Simon Newen in the new gen karting machine. Out of the final corner, Orbezo has passed Sawyer Chambers for second. It's an Iron Rock 1-2. Orbezo with a new fastest lap as well, a 103.779. 7.5 minutes to go, Adam. Two teammates. Now, what should happen and what will happen are two entirely different things. What should happen now is the two teammates, Styles and Orbezo, should hook up and push away. Back in my home kart club at Landau, there were two cadets, Macaulay Austin and Stephen Hanford. They would often, they didn't like each other, they didn't need to. They weren't teammates, they weren't friends, they respected the heck out of each other as drivers. Every once in a while, they would be in such a mood that they would hook up at the start and they would push each other away for the entire race distance. And you look back and you think the rest of the field are suddenly 10 seconds behind them. And they would wait and wait and wait and fight it out on the last lap. That is what we should see from Styles and Orbezo. Now, shoulda doesn't mean woulda or coulda, but that's what we should see. And it does look as though they are listening, because Chambers is now nearly a full second adrift in third. Meador, Mohammed, Johnson, Newen are all now more than 4 seconds back. So this is a story that is as old as time in karting. 8 wheels working together work much better than 4 wheels working on their own. Now, what Nico Orbezo is doing, and I'll remind you again, at the RMC Americas Trophy, Nico Orbezo, he won. No, it was actually, he won the ticket to Portimao in junior Rotax. He is going to the grand finals. He's the first TKL alumni to do so. What Orbezo is doing, he is pushing Styles into very deep water. And pretty soon, they're going to be out of their depth in very deep water. And then with, I would say maybe a minute or a lap and a half to go, Nico Orbezo will stop pushing Clayton Styles. He will draw alongside Clayton Styles. He will say, okay, let's see if you can swim. And then we'll find out how Clayton Styles can swim in deep water, as that is where Orbezo is pushing him, because Chambers is now 1.3 seconds back. The 4-kart battle for 4th place now takes place 5 seconds back, and the two Iron Rock Motorsport teammates continue to push away. Orbezo being the pusher, Styles being the pushed. Styles will also turn round when Orbezo says, "Can you swim, Clayton?" Clayton will say, "Yes, I can. Now stop pushing me around." And then it'll be game on.
Yeah, and if you're that pack of 4 right behind the lead group, I think at this point you have to kind of recognize the situation, and you can see there's still a chance to catch up to third place because now Chambers has been left out to dry by the lack of draft.
Hung out to dry like the laundry.
Yes. So if those guys do the same strategy that the 2 teammates up front do, they do have a chance to catch the Chambers, but based on how many moves I see per lap and based on how much my timing screen lights up when they all go by,
yes,
it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case for them. And behind them, you've got 3 matching green carts. So we're a little bit kind of split into our teams here. You've got a bunch of TBs, a bunch of CRGs right ahead, and then a bunch of Iron Rocks up at the front with Sawyer Chambers and Levi Metters actually dropped down a little bit further than the start of this. But that...
Yeah. It's interesting. Max Estrada, he races for the Speed Racer team, but that's a TB chassis, the mean green TB kart machine. Then you've got Dylan Silver, who's actually driving for TB Kart USA. And then you've got Cole Requa, privateer driver, same TB kart. I'm so pleased to see more and more TB karts entering top level karting. They're very distinctive, Italian built. In the UK, they have a tendency to be a little bit finicky. The sweet spot is very sweet, but to get to the sweet spot, you've obviously got to make a couple of mistakes with the recipe first. And there's not much time in karting to rectify mistakes when cooking up a mix. At the front, Styles and Orbezo, now 3.5 seconds in front of Chambers. Like you said, Adam, he has been hung out to dry. The 4 karts battling over 4th position, chopping and changing order almost every single corner. It was Malik Mohammed at the head of the group. Now it's Mia Johnson, the young lady, at the head of the group. Simon Ewan was initially at the head of the group for New Gen Karting. He's now the 3rd member of the group. And Levi Meador, who again, at one point was the head of that 4-kart train, is now the caboose.
And to kind of talk about a bit more of that pack thing, I was talking about them maybe working together to catch up. I was meaning it for that pack of 4, but it seems like the pack of 3 might have figured that out because you can see every lap that group of Estrada, Silver, and Wekra are slowly closing in. You can now see them almost on the same straightaway, and they got 2 tenths closer that lap by, and there's still a minute plus 2 to go. So I do believe we could see that group of 3 TB carts close in at the end. I also believe that Cole Requa is actually with Slipstream for this weekend.
Ah, okay.
I've seen him a lot under the tent. He might just like their food, which is very excellent.
Which is, yeah, that's good. That's a very good point. You can tell that Adam Nunes is learning how this commentary gig. You've got to do your journalism. Your journalism in the paddock does involve seeing who's cooking what. And then it would be rude not to report. It would be rude to report on said cooking without having sampled said cooking. Now you understand why I look like the way I do, and you look like the way you do. You're just starting out in this game. I've been doing it for 20 years. Welcome to your future, Adam Nunes. He says, as Adam Nunes thinks, I need to go back to driving more. But here we go. So, 10 seconds left on the race clock, and still no change up at the front. Identical lap times last time around, 63.689 seconds. Right, next time about, boys and girls, they're going to get 2 laps to go. When will Orbezo make his move? They're in deep water. This is Mariana Trench deep water now for Clayton Styles. And Nico Orbezo is going to say, right, let's see if you can sink or swim. Whatever happens, sink or swim. This is going to be a titanic battle.
Yes, and I do believe that rocks don't float, so this might be a bit of an interesting situation near the end. Sawyer Chambers is going to be the beneficiary of any fighting here, and there is fighting up front. Looks like Orbezo to the inside of turn one, sends it through, and now coming out. Is he going to keep it ahead? He is. Going on to the straightaway now. That fighting, they had a gap of 6.6 seconds with 2 laps to go. You would need a lot of fighting for Chambers to benefit.
I think Chambers is probably out of the question. So, first thing, Orbezo has asked Clayton Styles. He's popped the water wings. Now he's going to see if Styles can swim. And Styles reattacks through Switchback City, wheel to wheel between the two teammates. Styles was on the inside. He's on the outside of the run down towards turn 10. Into the boot. Well, Nico Orbezo, Styles has answered your question. Yes, you're in deep water. There's no doggy paddle here. And Styles backs the race lead. That boy, yep, he can swim, okay? And they've got 1 mile to swim to shore because the white flag's in the air. Orbezo to the inside. They've gone side by side through the sweepers, the flat out sweepers, and they haven't so much as swapped a sticker. Brilliant stuff, Adam Nunes.
Yes, it looks like Chambers, that last lap, closed in 6/10, but Orbezo is now in the lead of this race, and it doesn't look like Styles is going to make a move into turn 6, but still a lot of good opportunities here to come. I believe you're going to see the same we saw in 206 Senior with that turn 13, turn 14 move. But right now, they are bumper to bumper going down into turn 11. That short straightaway right before the braking zone is very crucial. You need to get a good exit here if you're Styles. Styles tries to go around the outside, making a switchback. Is it going to stick? Yes, it is. Styles to the inside for the run down to this final hairpin. This is a tricky spot. Now, can Orbezo get the move done once again? Styles takes a defensive line. Is it going to be defensive enough? Or is it going to be an offensive move for Orbezo? They're going to go side by side across the line. Orbezo to the lead, winning by 1/10 of a second. And that is going to be excellent racecraft from those two drivers. That is some of the cleanest racing I've seen in 4-strokes in a while, especially up at the front.
So, Nico Orbezo on the last corner gets to the inside of Clayton Styles. Styles, he held Orbezo off through the tight right-hand hairpin. And I thought that was game over. But then he just took a little bit of a lazy line into the final corner. Orbezo saw a gap, open up, dove to the inside, 2 wheels on the curb, no contact. They crossed the line. The winning margin, 11 hundredths of a second after 14 laps of racing. Sawyer Chambers comes home in third, all on his own, and the winner of that race-long battle for fourth position, Mia Johnson. That young lady, she crashed out of the pre-final, had to start towards the rear. She fought her way through to finish P4. Simon Nguyen is fifth. Malik Mohammed, Levi Mido, and on the last lap, Cole Requa. I saw again the celebration of yourself. Cole Requa passes Max Estrada and Dylan Silva for 8th place.
I think the jambalaya might have played a part in that from the Slipstream team.
There's jambalaya? Right, you're taking care of the next couple of races. I'm off to have lunch.
You missed it. It was yesterday.
Darn it.
Also, another thing, he passed 2 drivers and and closed in a second to the group ahead. That is a very good driving from Cole Requa. But now we are getting ready. The 4-stroke racing for the day is done. We are getting ready for our
2-stroke. The headliners, the Rotax Max classes. These are the classes the Texas Karting League was designed to host. The 4-stroke karts, they're a support that they're very welcome, and please don't think that they're not. However, the 2-stroke Rotax Max classes is the focus point. They are now taking to the circuit. Senior Rotax, Joey Friend, has been dominant throughout. He has the shirt, the Robert De Niro Cape Fear-esque undershirt under his race suit that he is quite proud of. He says, it's my own style. There was a WWF wrestler called Waylon Mercy who modeled himself after Robert De Niro in Cape Fear. There was another WWE wrestler, Bray Wyatt, who the late Bray Wyatt did very similar thing, a slightly unhinged look, and Joey Friend likes that unhinged look. Tommy Trailer, his title rival, on the Trailer Motorsports red and white kart next to him on the front row of the grid.
And another thing to note real quick, we just finished up with 4 strokes. That's usually Cameron Reed's class. She's been a very competitive driver in the 4-stroke racing, but is deciding to start to dip the toes in the water of Rotax racing, maybe try to get a ticket to the finals next year. But for right now, I believe we are going to be heading to the tran lines of Rotax Senior Max, getting ready to go green here as Joey Friend leads us away. Is he going to get the jump he needs? No. It looks like Trailer's going to get the lead, and that is going to be not the best start.
I think it was Cameron Reed even in the second place. Joey Friend gets caught napping at the start. And this is the first time all week that Joey Friend has not led Senior Rotax. Down the back straight they come. Trailer leads. Friend to the inside of Cameron Reed for seconds. Reed drops back to third. No, she now gets nudged back to fourth. Oh, yes. She doesn't get any more. That's Davis Buck. If Davis Buck didn't know Cameron Reed beforehand, he knows her now. Like I said, she is a very diminutive figure. She works as a pit reporter for Kart Chaser in the USA. Not only is she a team owner and a driver, but she has a voice. And she's not afraid at the right time to let everybody hear that voice at the right time. Meanwhile, up at the front of the race, Tommy Trailer is under increasing pressure. Joey Friend shoveling Trailer at over 70 miles an hour through the sweepers down towards turn number 4. Tommy Trailer is on the endangered species list in terms of being a race leader, and Joey Friend mirror signal maneuver, new leader into turn number 6 at the end of the long back straight. Joey Friend.
Yeah, and I thought for a half second you might see what we saw last race with the 2 people up front trying to push me together. But Joey Friend didn't want to wait around. He knows he has the pace to pull away with this race. And especially in a long race like this, sitting behind someone like Trailer, if he's faster, is going to cost you in the long run. But the pressures are the big thing here. He might be really fast at the start of this race, but if he got the pressures wrong, that drop-off is going to hit like a brick wall at the end of this. And it's going to allow the drivers of Reed, Wilson, and Buck to all catch up. You can see right now.
Oh, something's just fallen off one of the 2 lead carts. Something has just fallen off one of the 2 leaders. As the leaders came through turn number 3, that couldn't be a chain guard, could it? If that's a chain, and it was definitely off one of the 2 leaders, one of the marshals is over and picking up said piece of plastic. I think that's a chain guard, and our race director, Brandon, is already positioned on the outside of the final corner. Somebody else has stopped. Oh, no, that's not Cameron Reed. It could have been off the 3rd place cart. It couldn't be. Let's have a look. Cameron Reed is out of this race. And somebody, I am sure, is running around without a chain guard. And the marshal pushing Reed back into the pits. I am almost... That's very, very strange. I wonder if the piece of black plastic, whatever it was that fell off one of our 2 leaders, hit Reed's cart. She was in 3rd place, and I don't know. It's a strange thing. Now, we are going to find out who has lost a chain guard. Is it Joey Friend? Or is it Tommy Trailer? The flagman waits with the meatball flag. And it's Tommy Trailer. Trailer in 2nd position. That could be crucial in terms of the championship as well. Because at the end of today, just one round remains, and it is Tommy Trailer in second place, who has just lost a whole heap of points. That, Adam, that leaves the path wide open for Joey Friend to take the win today and championship glory at the end of the following rounds.
Yes, and I definitely know now what his drop round is going to be.
This one?
Yes, but that means there's going to be a lot of work on the table next week.
Now, hang on, Tommy Trailer hasn't pitted. Tommy, this is getting, you've got to look, he doesn't know what's fallen off his cart. Of course, he can't see the chain guard. So he doesn't know. And he's frustrated, yes. However, he's got a pit. Now, this does open up a great battle for second place. Joey Friend, even with 7 minutes plus 2 laps to go, he can almost get out and push the cart home from here. Ethan Wilson, Davis Buck, Jaden Sadek, Josh Norman, Dylan Ashtari, and Aidan James. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. They are all in one big group. Trailer pits. That's smart. Nothing good can come of not pitting when you're given a technical flag. It only gets more expensive for both you and potentially whoever's paying for your racing. But Ethan Wilson, first year as a Rotax driver, 16 years old, he is up into second position. Davis Buck is third. He was entered in 2 classes, decided 1 class is enough. He is now potentially on the podium. Now, Josh Norman, the recently married Josh Norman, diving to the inside. Right now, I'm not going to cast aspersions. Oh, round the outside. There's the third Slim Shady of the day. Josh Norman, round the outside for third place. Now, I'm not trying to cast aspersions. Josh Norman has just got married. He is driving like he may not be driving carts so much longer. I haven't met the new Mrs. Norman. Hello, by the way. Congratulations. One thing, did Josh have a prenup written? Thou shalt not stop me from racing my Rotax wagon. I wonder. Norman, though, now sets about Ethan Wilson. He's not going round the outside at turn number 6, is he? No, he's not. Ethan Wilson's going to have his wits about him, though. And it was funny. Ethan Wilson's mum, she is usually the person in charge of keeping Ethan's... Oh, a chain has come off. And that is another retirement. Davis Buck retires. The pack is being thinned out. Ethan Wilson's mum. I'm speaking to Ethan Wilson's mum. Ethan, he's a really engaging, bright, confident young man. Great interviewer. Obviously has talent. He learned a lot in 4-stroke karting. Now he's got to relearn everything as a 16-year-old with a bit about him in Rotax karting. And that means your ego has to be put in check a little bit. Because suddenly you go from king of the 4-stroke pile to bottom of the 2-stroke pile. Ethan is learning. He made a mistake yesterday, made up for it with a great move at the boot. Then had all that work undone because he came in underweight. And this is another thing, that even though you're with the team and he's with the MSL team, it is beholden upon a driver to make sure that everything about their car is correct before they go out onto the circuit. So, and I'm Ethan's man. Oh, here comes Josh Norman to the inside. Ethan Wilson holds him off. Great battle of a second. This is now Ethan Wilson going back to the drawing board and learning. Learning is so important. That deep purple Praga chassis of Josh Norman. They're in third place. This is a great battle, Adam.
Yes, and if this battle keeps continuing up, you might see the likes of Dylan Ashari, Aiden James, Jaden Sadek start to get in on this action. But the start of this race, I know it's only August, but it was Christmas wrapped up right for Joey Friend. Your 2 biggest chances at losing this race both out early on with technical issues here and there. Unfortunate for those drivers, but Joey Friend a full back straightaway ahead, but Josh Norman takes a peek at the inside. Ethan Wilson's going to keep it ahead, and Dylan Ashtori last lap got 4/10 closer, and we're going to see what it's going to be this time around, but it looks like he's trying to pull away a little bit from Aiden James and Sadek, but Josh Norman to the inside going into turn 12 and 13, but Ethan Wilson just seems to have the grip around the outside there, and Norman cannot get it done. It might be because he wants to sleep on the bed when he gets home. For the time being, Ethan Wilson is going to keep second position. Josh Norman is going to lose a bit of time. But Dylan Ashtari, 7/10 gained on the front two that last lap.
I love that. Honey, that holiday we were saving up for? Yes, Josh. Well, I broke my go-kart crashing into somebody else, and I need to spend that money on a new wagon. Okay, honey, there's the couch. Off you go. Night-night. Norman, though, doesn't make the same mistake and makes the move. Josh Norman up to P2. Somebody in the Norman family is going to kill me by the end of this. I'm not sure if it's Josh's dad, or Josh's wife. But I'm in trouble with one of them, I know that much. But right now, Josh Norman, P2, and pulling away from Ethan Wilson. Wilson's job is now to hang on to a podium. Josh Norman, 20 years old, 21 years old, very experienced driver, has been racing Rotax a long time. Ethan Wilson, 16 years old, racing Rotax for the first time in 2026. So, Wilson has two choices. Do I try and be a hero and catch a more experienced driver in a race that is energy sapping and that more experienced driver can handle better? Or do I just say, okay, today third is the best I can do, but you know what? Third is a podium. And third at podium, that's a good confidence booster. I think Wilson is not settling for third because Dylan Ashtari is closing in. Norman started this race ninth, which means he's got a little tyre advantage. Now, we're not talking about Joey Friend because he is 11 seconds up the road.
Yes,
yes.
I do believe the fitness is going to be a huge thing. So maybe Joey Friend has been keeping hydrated better than a couple other drivers because in this weather, you're in the suits, even though you're going fast, it's going to wear you out quickly, especially in the more physical two-strokes. Not to hate on any of the four-stroke drivers, including myself, but the two-stroke racing, you're carrying a bit more through the corners. It's a bit more on your body. The two-stroke karts beat you up a lot more than the four-stroke karts. Four-stroke karts are heavier. They require a different level of fitness. They require, you've got to be focused. They are very physical. Two-strokes, they just beat you up. They literally want to slap you about the face a few times every lap. And then go, there you go, told you. 2 flags in the air. 2 laps to go, 2 miles to go, 30 corners. Joey Friend is already into Switchback City as Josh Norman. Now the battle is on for third position. Dylan Ashtari for Slipstream Racing. One of the few Slipstream Racing carts that isn't a TB. That's a red and white Birrell ART cart. But he is closing in on Ethan Wilson. This is a test of mettle for Ethan Wilson. Right, Ethan, what have you learnt? Are we going to let the occasion get to us? Or are we going to knuckle down, keep our heads, and work hard? No, make mistake. Don't overdrive it. I haven't seen Ethan Wilson look over his shoulder. That's important. He will be getting a signal from somebody on the pit lane to tell him where his rival is. But you're not seeing that bright pink bell crash helmet of Ethan Wilson, who now takes the white flag, look over his shoulder. As they start the last lap, Dylan Ashtari has closed to within half a second. Up at the front, though, Joey Friend. This is the type of weekend, Adam, that is just perfect. You're fast. You win the first 2 races. You're under a little bit of pressure in the final, and then your 2 main rivals go out, leaving the path clear. So, in true Robert Downey Jr., Robert De Niro, Cape Fear style, Joey Friend is going to win Senior Rotax. We will see
the shirt on the podium. Josh Norman can take a new trophy back to the newlyweds' house. In second, who's going to finish third, Adam?
It's going to be coming out of the final corner, Ethan Wilson with Dylan Ashtori on his tail. Could not get it done, but he was very excited about trying to move up. He talked to me this week, and he said he had the pace. We didn't see it this time around, but there's still another race left in the season at this exact track in October. So we might see that run it back. It's going to be a different layout, I believe. It's going to be the reverse track. So
I believe so. And that's the beauty of some of these tracks in the UK, in the US. They can run counterclockwise, and I'll go by clockwise and counterclockwise. Because we don't do anti-clockwise over here because it's too close to Antifa, and that upsets a whole host of Americans. We'll do counterclockwise instead. October, that seems like fun. So, I mean, I've been here in February in -2. I've been here now in August in 102. I wonder if we can maybe have like a 72 in October. That'd be lovely. I'm not back, but I'd like to be. There we go.
I would like to say, we'll come back to this replay later. I think it's going to be 76 degrees for the...
Write it down, Ali. Write it down. Adam Nunez says, October, counterclockwise, Texas Karting League, final round, 76 degrees. Oh, hang on a sec. There's now dollars being thrown around the commentary box. Hang on a sec, Kate. Adam didn't realise commentary pays diddly squat. Man can't put those Benjamins away. Man can't afford that. Oh, which president's on the $1 bill?
I thought we were done throwing money around.
Oh yeah, no. Well, you can have a George Washington, not a Benjamin. You can have
$1 bet.
There we go. Yeah, $1 bet on the temperature. There we go. That senior Rotax out of the way. Next up, Minimax, ladies and gentlemen. Minimax, the final. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 drivers in total. And here's something. Mace Lasek, championship leader, starts 14th because he didn't finish the opening lap in the pre-final. I'll take you to the starting lineup. Tyler Blackwood and Wyatt White, row 1. Andres Pena and Mikey Todd, row 2. This is Andres Pena's first Minimax race. Moving up from Micromax, Jude Hendrickson and Cohen Scott, row 3. Jaden Jolivet and Marcelo Tosta, row 4. Liam Haswell, Drew Blem, row 5. Then Kensley Howie and the Bosnian driver, Alan Zanic. Then it is Alexander Mosley, son of former First Sergeant U.S. Army Lightning Linwood Mosley, and Mace Lasek, who sung the national anthem earlier, voice of an angel, right foot of a devil. Then, rounding out the field, is Valentin Avellino. Now, here we go. We are going to have another guest commentator, Adam Nunez. Now, this is Adam's first time commentating real-life karting trackside. He thinks he's going outside to bring Brandon Green in so that he can have a break and I can commentate with Brandon Green. What's going to happen is this. This is what's going to happen. Minimax is about to take the start. Through the first corners we go, down towards turn number 4. The field led by Tyler Blackwood. And up the field. Now, Brandon Green, who we're going to see in the last race of the day in FC125. Brandon, say hello to Adam Nunez. And you are now going to commentate on this race. Don't swear, you're live. Go.
All right. So right now at the end of lap 1, we've got Tyler Blackwood leading this group away. He's been very fast this weekend, had the pace. and Wyatt White behind them. We've got everyone's still close up at the front. Actually, they're close all the way back. Everybody's still tightly packed together. We don't see the groups that broke away like we did in four-stroke. But Mikey Todd might be a driver to watch out for this race. A little bit behind right now, but actually he's going to jump up into third. The timing just updated. So Mikey Todd already up 2 positions. Brandon, do you think that he's going to be a driver to watch this race?
Yeah, I think Mikey Todd is extremely strong, and he's someone that we should definitely be watching in contention for the win.
And then, yeah, we've got Liam Haswell, Mace Lajak. Mace Lajak already up a decent amount of positions after a less fortunate pre-final race, up 5 from where he started. But Mikey Todd, Wyatt White, Cohen Scott, all very fast drivers, very competitive drivers. But that group of 4 up front starting to break away. You can see even that group of 4 by themselves is starting to break into small groups of 2. So you're going to see a lot of back and forth between Blackwood and Pena, Todd and White, and then Scott trying to at least keep up with the group. But further on back, you have a move down the inside for the 73 of Marcelo Tosta. So position going up for him. But how would you say the 2-stroke like this, the single-speed 2-stroke, especially in the lower age groups, compares to the shifter driving style?
Well, I feel like the driving style for these karts is definitely much less aggressive, more smooth. They have to focus more on just hitting their marks and being consistent rather than pushing everything out of the cart, you know?
Yeah, and it's going to be, similar stuff. We also have further on back, it looks like Tyler Blackwood's got a bit of a run, bringing Penny along with them. But Todd, White, Scott, I think are going to be, they got to be smart about this race because you've got 7 minutes plus 2 laps to go still. And you don't want to fight too much because that's going to allow the groups behind them to catch up a bit more. And coming out of the final corner, looks like we're going to have a change of position. Looks like Todd's going to go ahead. Or no, Todd's going to drop down a position. Wyatt White is going to take 3rd position away. But the podium still very much could be anyone's game. Tyler Blackwood, yet again, goes fastest that last lap. And that's how you know, looks like someone is going to dip a wheel up. I believe that is Mikey Todd going a little bit wide on the exit of turn 5. But at least it's a straightaway, so you don't have your next corner compromised. You're just going to be a little bit slower. And I actually believe he almost got passed through that corner. But now it's just allowed. He's dropped back a little bit from that group of 2 he was fighting with. And now he's going to be compromised. He's going to have to defend now in a different position. He's going to be a bit under the attack from the likes of Mace Lajak and Jude Hendrickson and Marcelo Tosta. Tosta having a good race as well right now. It looks like also Mace Lajak is having the best race of anyone so far, up in the 6th position, up 8 spots, and his might be another one. Cohen Scott is going to jump up into 4th position. Mace Lajak is jumping to 5th position. Mikey Todd drops further down the order as we're going. So lots of competition here. 6 minutes, 2 laps to go. These guys are running sub-minute laps. So I think we're still got around 7, 8 laps to go here. Depends on when they're going to cross the line at. But and it's going to be a shorter race too. You have 10 minutes plus 2 laps as opposed to the 12-minute plus 2 of all the full-size racing. But right now, as it stands, the front 2 cars are going to pull away, but 4th position is going to want to be 3rd position. Looks like Cohen Scott down the inside. Is he going to stick it through? We've still got, it's going to be very competitive. You see turn 13, turn 14, a lot of people this weekend have used that as their kind of last send for the lap, but we're only at halfway so far. So, you've got the very fast left-hander, and it's not, and these cars you're going faster. It's not flat out for 1, 2, and 3 because, even in the 206 racing, you have to do a light lift for 3, depending on if you compromise your entry or exits. But
So, Brandon, last question. Brandon, what is happening with Karting for a driver's perspective? What are you going to be doing now? If you're in 2nd place, what are you doing?
So, Brandon, if you're the driver, if you're Andres Pena, you're sitting in 2nd place, still a couple minutes to go. You've just got the halfway mark. Are you going to be trying to keep pushing away? You're going to be a bit more aggressive on getting the lead?
I would just look at Blackwood's bumper, try to stick to it and push him for as long as possible. Wait for those 2 laps to come out, and then they're going to begin battling. but it looks like a hand signal from Cohen Scott. He's asking Wyatt White to push him. So we'll see how that comes out. If P1 and P2 will fade away, or if Cohen Scott and Wyatt White can work together and get to their bumper.
Yeah, and it's going to be, lots of back and forth, not as much as we've seen earlier today. Also, these are younger drivers, much younger drivers. I know we just talked about Blackwood moving up recently, I believe, and you're still at that younger age. You're in the smaller karts. It's going to handle a bit differently than it will whenever you move up to the junior classes, but it's very important to learn what you can while racing here. You're not going to be going against. It's not like senior where you have your mix of 16 to 22-year-olds. It's everyone within a couple years of each other. And I think, the development, being able to learn how to respond to feedback, being able to get coaching, being able to start to articulate what setup changes you need to make. But the gap from third to fourth has opened up quite a bit. Cohen Scott is going to be opening up, and Mace Lejek has the lap record of the weekend for these guys, a 57.2, a whole tenth of a second faster than the leader of this race. He is up 10 positions now, and he's going to be closing down.
Okay. Yeah, and Mace Lejek up 10 positions. That is extremely impressive. Starting all the way from the back of the field, now up to P4, chasing down Cohen Scott, and with a 57.233 last lap, best lap of the race. So let's see if Mace can get on Cohen Scott's bumper and push him up to P1 and P2, because the gap is 2.6 seconds, and it looks extremely long, but it is reasonably manageable for over almost 10 laps to go in this final.
Yeah, definitely a lot more manageable than the gap we saw in the last race of Joey Friend. Also, there's still someone on the bumper. So, that's definitely what we were hoping to see in the last race, but technical issues happened. But it looks like further on back, you've got fourth, fifth, sixth, all kind of duking it out still trying to figure out who's going to lead that group to catch up. And right now we're sitting at around 4 minutes to go. It's still going to be a bit of a up in the air to see which side of the timer is going to fall on. But right now, the gap from first to second as well is starting to open up more and more. It seems like Blackwood is just has the better fitness, maybe could be the factor here, because these guys very young, very new drivers, so the ability to stay hydrated. But down the inside, further on back, you've got Mikey Todd, Wyatt White, all fighting, and Mace Lejek is going to be trying to close into Cohen Scott. He's got the speed, he's got the pace, a very talented driver, a driver to watch for as he moves up through the ranks of the Rotax Racing. But right now, he closed in a little bit. So still lots to work on here to get the podium potential. But he did close in 200ths of a second the last lap. And I think near the end, it's going to pick up more and more. But the SRR machine of Cohen Scott seems to be just keep doing enough to stay ahead, keep that gap even as we go through. But Blackwood is going to pull 2/10 ahead on to Andreas Pena.
Yeah, and one thing we need to think about is Tyler Blackwood's perspective to see what he can do and see if he can manage the gap right now, because he's going to have those nerves coming in with 2 laps to go and such a short gap behind him. So,
Yeah. So Pena, the gap is starting to fall further on back. You've got 4/10 there, but it looks like Cohen Scott is going to close in that last lap by a whole tenth of a second. Actually, it's going to be 1.7 seconds. So, it's going to be 3 laps to go this time by as the time runs out on the clock right now. But Mace Lejek is going to have to start pushing everything he's got left if he wants to take a shot at the podium, because he's pretty safe behind him, because White and Todd seem to be just duking it out back and forth. They seem to I think they know the situation, that there's not really the chance of getting up to those guys unless they really work together. But these younger drivers, and actually it's going to be 2 laps to go as they cross the line this time by. So Tyler Blackwood is going to be trying to get that gap further out away. And looks like now Scott and Lasek are bumper to bumper. I'm not sure if Scott made a mistake that last lap, but Mace Lasek 5/10 quicker last time by, as 2 laps to go in the air. So the podium is very much in the works for those two. And now you have Wyatt White and Mikey Todd with the potential to close in if these two keep fighting it out up ahead. So
yeah, and we also have Mace Lazak, who is the current championship leader, chasing down for P3. So we need to think about if he's going to send it on him for the additional points, or he's just going to sit behind him, play it safe, and make sure he comes home in P4. And there he goes. He sends it. He sends it into turn 12, into the hairpin. They're going too wide into the final corner. He is the outside line, but I think he's going to try and hold it. And then he gets the inside. Let's see if he goes with it. Oh, he holds the inside, keeps it there. And then P3 goes for the switchback. Too wide into the first corner. White flag flies, and he tucks in P4.
Yeah, so Mace Lasek, I think this is probably the most impressive drive we've seen this weekend, to go from last place up into 3rd position, and Blackwood is going to keep on bringing that gap open. But Mace Lasek, lap record of the weekend, 11 positions gained. The Iron Rock seems to have the Rotax Racing figured out. All of their drivers, you've seen them in junior, and actually a switchback between 3 and 4, and it looks like Mace Lasek, Cohen Scott switching positions every single corner at this point, and it's going to be a race to the line. You might see what happened between Skinner and 206 Senior. You might see him start to get further on down, but Tyler Blackwood is coming around the final couple of corners now, and looks like Lasek looking for a switchback. Is he going to get the move done? Trying to get it out of the final corner, but it's not going to be enough. Blackwood wins, Pena's in second, and Mace Lasek is going to be next to Cohen Scott, but he's going to be behind him. So Mikey Todd, also in the last lap, gained a position. He's going to finish 5th. So a couple of positions dropped. But Mace Lasek, even though he didn't get the podium spot he wanted, still a very impressive drive from him.
Yeah, and great lap from Mace Lazak, but it just wasn't enough to get in front of Cohen Scott. Very impressive drive, though. P10 to P4. That was great drive.
Yeah. Thank you, Brandon, for a little pop into the booth, and we'll hope to see you have a pretty good result down there in Shifter.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And we're looking forward to talking. Now, coming up next, we are going to have our Master and Club, or actually, no, sorry. We have our Junior Max up next. Now, previously, there was a bit of a dispute between the front 3 drivers of that.
Really? A dispute between the front 3 drivers in the junior Rotax class? I've never heard of such a thing. You mean the class where hormones meets horsepower, junior Rotax? No, you must be lying, Adam.
Yes. So at last race, I believe this was yesterday's race in the heats. The 3 Iron Rock drivers started together, close together, but just could not work it out through the first corner, and it did not go their way.
Yes, that dispute that happened yesterday with the 3. What's that first rule of racing again? And first of all, well done, Adam. That was you thought that Brandon Green was going to come in and talk to me, but no, that's you. That's your first gig as a lead commentator. Brandon Green and his friend had now almost just walked through the wiring that could have been catastrophic, but luckily they spotted it right at the end. Yes. What is the first rule in racing, Adam? You don't crash into your teammates. And what's the golden rule if you don't crash into 2 of your teammates? Now, I don't know who were the crasher and who were the crashees. All I know is that 3 Iron Rock karts went into turn 2 on lap 1 together at the start of yesterday's heat race, and none of them came out. We've got a spinner on the outlap of Junior Rotax. That, I think, is even Garcia, possibly. I'll have to have a little look. And we're looking at the replay. Yes, that. So I think it's fair to say not all is rosy. I'm sure everyone's kissed and made up now. It happens. What I think this guarantees is that they will not do the same in this race. Let's take you through the starting lineup in juniors. It's going to be driver number 260, Alex Chandler, who leads the field to the green. He was dominant in the pre-final. Nico Orbezo starts alongside him on row number 1. Cruz Rodriguez and Tanner Barsh go from row number 2. Kimo Ahmad, Clayton Stiles on row 3. Emmett Eddles, Nicolas Castro, Adrian Vargas, Sofia Sadigova, Ivan Garcia, Yoma Rangelis Vargas, who will celebrate her 12th birthday on Tuesday, Nolan Mueller, Anderson Mueller. They are your 14 starters.
Yes, and it looks like it might have been the Nicolas Castro that was spun around at the start and decided to take out our acceleration zone cone. But
yes,
everybody,
what's that cone ever done to you?
everybody else remains safe, and hopefully our Marshall tent also remains safe during this race start. It looks like the Iron Rock drivers are a bit further spread apart, but it's going to be Alex Chandler and Cruz Rodriguez leading us away, and it looks like Alex Chandler is going to get the start. He wants to hold the inside, but Cruz Rodriguez to the inside actually, and is going to take the lead of this race early on, and everybody's clean through 1, 2, and 3, but are they going to be clean out of 4 and 5? Looks like there was a little bit of slowed down, but everybody made it out just okay. And it looks like it's going to be a race to turn 6. Alex Chandler taking a look at the inside, but Cruz Rodriguez is quick to close it down. Actually, I believe, no, Nico Orbezo.
It's Orbezo, yeah. It's Nico Orbezo who's right. Now, when they came to the line, Adam, Nico Orbezo had his hand in the air as though he was saying, I'm not on the gas, but I'm getting pushed along. So that could be something that runs and runs a little bit. Orbezo gets the lead, Chandler second. Now, up into third position, that is the number 251 CRG kart, the NSL Racing Massimo Sanchez Lara Racing driver of Tanner Barsh, who actually loses third place to Clayton Stiles. Well, Orbezo and Stiles, they went mano a mano in 206 Junior just a moment ago. Now, and this is else something, it's brutally hot out here. Orbezo and Stiles have already done 1 12-minute plus 2 lap race in this heat and humidity, which is debilitating. It feels like 101 degrees according to our phone weather apps. 52% humidity. Yep, it's that miserable, boys and girls. Will that, do you think, play a factor? Chandler is as fresh as a daisy, and he now takes the race lead. Could that be critical? Driver fitness, is that going to play a part?
I think so, but right now, Clayton Stiles always seems to be in the position of either having to play patient or defend, and right now, he's been doing double duty this weekend, which is a very, very taxing on the body, very taxing on the wallet. And,
yep.
But
even
right now,
at this level, even at grassroots level, it's, basketball shoes are still cheaper than go-karts, no matter how cheap you make the go-karts.
yes, and
unless you're buying Michael Jordan's actual pair of basketball shoes that he played with in the NBA, of course. They get a little bit more expensive.
it still might be cheaper than a shifter. However, Clayton Stiles is going to be in second position. It's going to be Iron Rock 1, 2, and 3. As Clayton Stiles is going to close in last lap 3/10. But right now, looks like the gap's going to open up a little bit. Didn't go as fast. Now Alex Chandler with the fastest lap of the race, a 55.1. And it looks like no one is really close to his pace this time by. Actually, everyone is at least 3/10 away from the speed of Alex Chandler. Now, pressures. I talk about this every single race. That's going to be a huge factor. However, Clayton Stiles and Nico Orbezo are going to be a bigger factor as they go switching back through turn 6, through turn 7. I believe that is Orbezo ahead as they go through 8 and 9. And Stiles takes a look but cannot get it done. And that's going to allow Tanner Barsh to become a part of the conversation here right now. Now, you don't see as much of the packs as you do, but you do definitely see a couple different groups of skill level start to break away. A lot of the more patient drivers are going to be further on back. You see kind of the 2 red factory carts are also going to be very smart and competitive. But up front, actually, they're going to be side by side going across the line. But back to the front, Orbezo is trying to close in a little bit, ekes out a very small gain to Alex Chandler the last time by with a 500th of a second gain. So not going to be the deal breaker here. But
Well, and I've got to say, it's game over for Emmett Eddles, the Skeptic sponsored driver, out of the race. His cart, he is carrying something. Is that his gloves or his neck brace? But his cart grinds to a halt on the entry to Switchback City, abandoning it in the centre of the grass verge, away from the racing surface. Emmett Eddles trudges back to pit lane. Will not be a happy day for Eddles. The two factory cart teammates, the Puerto Rican duo, Adrian and Yoma Rangeles or Yoma Vargas, battle away in 8th and 9th position. Kimo Ahmad, he had a poor start in Kimo, and now we're starting to see Kimo move back up the order. He passes one of the Vargas siblings. He's now got another Vargas to make the other. Oh no, that's Yoma Vargas says, no, Kimo, I will not let you pass unaided. And she goes back in on Ahmad, and Ahmad then fights back. This is allowing Adrian Vargas and Sofia Sadigova to pull away. Sadigova in 7th position. She's having a really nice race, I've got to say. On that 205, the familiar green and white Tony Kart colours. Up at the front, however, new fastest lap. Alex Chandler, a 54.877 on lap number 6.
yeah, and we're just getting to the halfway point. So, and whenever you look at your data after the race, you should see your best lap right now. So now we're going to start to see the tire fall off become a thing, as everyone should be up to their best pressures if they got it right, which I believe a lot of these teams you're running with, a lot of these people up front, they're all very competitive teams. Iron Rock, MSL, and it says privateer here, but I believe a couple of the drivers are with GR2.
Yes.
So I don't think about karting, especially at a grassroots series like this. It's a lot of family matters. You know, we talked about the Knox siblings earlier.
Yep.
We talked about Seville Racing. It's not really a family thing, but still a group of people together. You got Reed Motorsports. So everyone kind of, it's a very friendly paddock, especially if you're someone trying to break into the sport. You can always count on anyone being able to.
Yeah, you're right. Karting is a very friendly paddock. Apart from Kid Kart parents, they're not very friendly. Kid Kart parents, not friendly. Everyone else, friendly.
Well, we can say that because they went home yesterday.
Yep.
However, it looks like 2nd and 3rd, Orbeso and Styles, are still going to be neck and neck, bumper to bumper. But the gap to 1st is it's been staying pretty similar the entire race. Tanner Barsh is kind of stuck in a no man's land right now. He's got no pressure behind him yet, but he's also got not much of a chance to get up ahead. There's still a lot of racing to go, but you're going to need some fighting more and more to kind of maximize on that, because he's running lap times a little bit outside of what those two guys ahead of him are running. So it's just, again, we talked about it, very taxing on the body to be in this race. And for all these young drivers, I think you mentioned this briefly yesterday, that it's amazing how young you can start in karting. And I know this is our junior class, so they're a little bit older. It's not as old as Minecraft or something like that. However, it's still going to be, they've been in the sport a little bit. I don't know how long these drivers have been racing, but I'd imagine a good bit of them, especially up front, have been through the micro, have been through the mini.
Yes.
And that's why it's very important to build those habits early on. But as they come across the line again, the gap is going to close down by 0.3 of a second. And actually, it looks like Styles pulls a bit of a gap on Orbeso. So now Chandler doesn't have to check the rear view just yet, but it is going to be a bit of a battle, because we still have 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go here. And further on back, coming out of turn 4 now, you have a pack of 4. So, all those guys, all these people, they kind of get with their skill groups naturally throughout the race. And it's very, lots of back and forth between them. You learn this racecraft. This is a very good track because it has so many different corner types, and it's also, you don't have the banking to rely on. You really got to rely on the mechanical grip. You have to kind of know how to push the wheel, how to lean your body a little bit here and there. I know some people like to lean a little bit further outside, but you know, it's the very technical stuff. And I know this track was built for the purpose of training some drivers, and further on it's been developed into a very important place because you at the start of the year you have SCUSA come here, you have Rotax come here, and then you have TSRS. A lot, like so many different series use this as a kind of headliner track.
Absolutely, yeah, you are right, and quite rightly so. It's a fantastic karting facility. We have got 2 minutes and 20 seconds plus 2 laps to go. Alex Chandler continues to lead Junior Rotax by 0.8 of a second over his teammate Clayton Stiles. Nico Orbezo is third, another 0.8 of a second back. Then there is a 2-second gap back to the CRG of MSL Racing's Tanner Barsh, followed by the high 5 performance number 224 of Cruz Rodriguez. Then behind Rodriguez, a gap of 1.9 seconds to Nicolas Castro. Behind Nicolas Castro, there is a gap of 5 seconds to 7th place driver Kimo Ahmad. Ahmad has managed to work his way back past Adrian Vargas, Sofia Sadigova, and Yumarangelis Vargas, who run 8th, 9th, and 10th. Then there is a 20-second gap back to Nolan Mueller, who runs 11th. And behind Nolan Mueller, his brother, Anderson Mueller, another 4 seconds back in 12th position. Even Garcia has retired. So has Emmett Eddles. 12 drivers remain. Now, a minute plus 2 laps to go.
And yeah, you can see, I talked earlier on in this race, you saw Stiles and Orbezo neck and neck, actually switching positions, but now we're into the final stage of this race. Going to be 3 laps to go, going to be 2 as they cross the line next time by, but Stiles has now pulled away from Orbezo, and every lap is getting closer and closer to the bumper of Alex Chandler, and now I believe he's within the range where the draft is going to positively affect him. So we could see a very nice battle to the end. It's not the same as we saw in 206 where they were pushing each other along. It wasn't Chandler, but still Iron Rock drivers. They weren't pushing each other along, but they are going to be waiting until the end of this race to have that battle happen. And as they cross the line, 2 sticks in the air by our wonderful marshals, and Clayton Stiles, 2.4 or 0.24 seconds gained on that last lap. He has the fastest lap of the race, and he is getting within 0.007 of a second of his best lap. So he is very consistent in his times. Meanwhile, Chandler is kind of a little bit variation between his best and his current. So, and actually, I don't think anyone on our timing screen right now has a better consistency than Clayton Stiles. I think this is going to be a driver whose career we need to watch throughout the progression of the next couple of years. It's going to be a very competitive driver for sure.
Well, Clayton Stiles lost out on victory in Junior 206 just minutes ago to Nico Orbezo. He now has 2 to go. 2 laps to go. I see. So the start line official put the 2 laps to go. There was a second left on the race clock. So now it is 2 laps to go. Chandler leads. Stiles closing in. It was one of those awkward situations, a timekeeper's worst nightmare, when there's 2 seconds to go, 1 second to go, oh, they crossed the line. It happens a lot. But the flag marshal, very, very demonstrative in his signal. So the drivers cannot say, oh, we didn't know. He is being extremely demonstrative, and which he should be with the flag signals. You don't need a shy and retiring flagman. That is what we see. Now we've got 1 lap to go. Now Clayton Styles, left through 1, right through 2, left through 3, on the brakes into 4, right again out of 5, tucked down behind the NASA panel, Clayton Styles, down the long back straight. He's still not within striking distance of Alex Chandler. Chandler into 6. Now we're through Switchback City, Adam, and now Styles has a chance.
I think we're going to see the move into turn 13. That's been a very hot spot this weekend for those last lap, last ditch attempts. But right now, you have to get a good exit out of this turn 11 for it to be even on the table. And it's going to be very close as they come around to the final set of corners. Clayton Styles is in the view, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get done. Alex Chandler coming out of turn 14 and 15. It's going to be a win here at TKL and Junior Max for Alex Chandler, with Clayton Styles only 0.3 of a second behind him, and Nico Orbesto in 3rd. You've got Tanner Barsh coming across the line in 4th position, but it's still very close further on back. Cruz Rodriguez, 5th position. Nicolas Castro in 6th. Kimo Ahmed did manage to get away from that group of 4, finished 7th. Adrian Vargas, Yomi Vargas are 8 and 9. Sofia Sandagova didn't have the best race, was further up ahead, but just dropped down as the race went on. And Nola Mueller, Anderson Mueller are going to be the final 2 to come across the line as they're getting ready to go into the pits. Now,
yeah, that's going to be a hard race for some of those juniors. Fair play. Now, Nico Orbezo finishes 3rd with the greatest of respect to the Texas Karting League. Orbezo's main goal this year has already been achieved. He's going to Portugal. So the rest of the year is just purely about practice, about seat time. Chandler, what a drive. I was speaking to Chandler's dad. This chassis, they're going to see out the season with this chassis because, they're not going to go into the Vegas races. They are just going to see out the season with this trusty old Carlos Sainz warhorse of a chassis. Now, if they wanted to buy a new Carlos Sainz CK50 55 chassis, they need to go and see High Five Performance and Morgan LeBaron, who have just been announced as the new distributor for the Carlos Sainz chassis in the state of Texas. So they are the importers or the distributors in Texas for the EOS chassis brand, the Cosmic chassis, and the Carlos Sainz chassis. They're all OTK products, just different colors. And that, ladies and gentlemen, means we have 3 races to go. 3 races to go. And just reminded me there. Yeah, that's good. So Chandler, grid 4 at the US Trophy Rotax Nationals, and got as far as turn number 1 before stuff happened.
so it's very, there's a lot of racing is full of ifs, especially in karting.
Oh, yes.
And I think a big if is to see what would happen if Alex Chandler were to punch that ticket to Portugal, because his pace against some fellow competitors that did that race seems to be very strong, but maybe that'll be something we see next year.
Well,
but
yep.
We're getting ready for Micromax, and Micromax, it's going to be, this is kind of your
training ground for
Yeah.
Rotax. It's the first step on the Rotax ladder. The youngest members of the Rotax family, drivers 7, 8, 9 years of old. We've got 5 of them, Adam. What's the lineup?
We've got Sebastian Kim leading us away in this race with JJ DeShong in 2nd, so a good front row. Hayden Sampson in 3rd, and Baron Chen in 4th. And then in 5th position, rounding off our nice grids of Micromax, you've got Enzo Vizicano, and also registered for this race but didn't make it to it. You had Vettel Baker and Andreas Pena. Pena did some races earlier today and was very competitive in those, but again, the double duty for a lot of people is just not as doable. But maybe we'll see him back here in a future race. So, Sebastian Kim, it looks like we might be getting something retrieved from the track right now. Not sure what it is or who it is?
Well, Mace Lasek, who sung the national anthem for us at the start of the afternoon. You didn't hear that on YouTube. It was here in the paddock only. But for a young man, 11 years old, to take the microphone in front of an entire paddock of people, including all his peers, and sing the national anthem is an incredible achievement. So, as we bring to a close today's racing, 3 main events to go. In the next race, the Micromax race, Mace Lasek will be waving the checkered flag. And I think that is a remarkable story, and justifiably so. Well done to Mace Lasek. The recovery vehicle is still on track, so you're not missing anything, but we've got I think the recovery vehicle, I think this is a water run for the marshals. So you can see the water being sent out to the marshals. It's a reminder to everyone in the paddock to stay hydrated. I can see Marcelo Sanchez Lara, who is JJ DeShong's mechanic. Marcelo is down on the dummy grid. He has got a bottle of water in his hand to make sure that that his driver gets a last little top up of H2O.
Back from a short intermission as we get ready to see the Micromax Trekkers take to the track. Once again, this is one of the younger age groups, so it is a 10-minute plus 2 as opposed to our regular 12-minute plus 2 laps. But still a big workload for these drivers.
Yes, indeed. 5 drivers led by Sebastian Kim. On the outside of row number 1, JJ DeShong. Hayden Sampson goes from the inside of row 2 alongside Baron Chen, with Enzo Vizcayano on row number 3. Only 5 karts, but we saw earlier you could have a very, very good kart race with just 2 or 3 karts. So this could be excellent, bearing in mind that Kim, DeShong and Sampson have been extremely evenly matched all week or all weekend. Here we go. Up the straight.
So right now, I mean, you've seen a lot of the thing, and I talked about this earlier. You haven't had the chance this entire weekend, even in the practice sessions, to be out on track for this amount of time that they're about to be out there. You've had your, your 4-minute practices, your 5-minute practices, your warm-ups, but none of that is going to compare to nearly as much as you've seen in this final Micromax. A lot of these drivers, I'm not too familiar with everybody here. I know that you've got JJ Deshong has a pit view on Instagram from, I believe, the sister, but they are green.
Nope,
as we
they're
go
not. They're false start. False start.
False start.
First time all weekend. We nearly had a false. We nearly had a complete day where we didn't have a complete fault. We didn't have a single false start. The Micromax drivers have, sent that one into the history books, which means that the tension mounts even more.
Maybe it was the mention of Instagram that sent it around, but
Yes.
at least now I have a chance to really get the green flag commentary through. But I think I'm gonna check real quick on how these guys have been doing. But you have a good mix of teams. You've got MSL, Slipstream, Mint, CRG. Now I believe CRG is not here this weekend, so I'm guessing that
they're all in with the
MSL.
Yeah, MSL.
So, which Massimo has a very good program. I'm still learning myself about all the teams, but
Massimo and his brothers, and of course Mr. Sanchez Lara overseeing everything. It's Massey's team, but Mr. Sanchez Lara Senior is always there. Nobody used to keep Marcello in check.
Yes, and right now I will say, people that have been in this. We talked about the humidity. We talked about the heat. People that have been battling the heat have been our flag guys and our corner workers all weekend long. His shirt is naturally red, but I guarantee you can match the rest of his skin right now down on the grid, and it's going to be.
Mace Lasek watching. Yeah, that what. Or you're on Mason, who's just dragged himself up into the commentary box. He's doing all the social media filming. If ever there was a man that needed an ice cold shower, it is Mason. The man looks just like a puddle. He is a puddle of a man who has returned to the commentary box. He's been doing an outstanding job all weekend. Some really cool, innovative features that Mason's been cooking up for the TKL audience. But for the second time of asking, here we go, Adam.
Yeah, all right. Leading us away right now, you've got Sebastian Kim and JJ Deshong. JJ Deshong, not the best start. He's going to have to file in, actually drop down to 3rd position, but it's still going to be very clean start for these drivers. So that's the most important part for this younger group.
Yeah, indeed. Down towards turn number 6. Hayden Sampson to the inside of Sebastian King. JJ Deshong goes with him. Kim now tries the outside to the entrance to Switchback City. He cuts back across. He'll try the undercut coming out of Switchback City, but no. JJ Deshong stands firm. Down towards the boot we go. The green TB cart, black crash helmet. Hayden Sampson leads. Oh, JJ Deshong defending against his teammates, Sebastian Kim, up towards turn number 13. They're going to have to play nice because at the end of that number 1, those defensive moves, as Deshong looks to the inside, Kim looks to the inside. This is great battling for second. It's allowing Hayden Sampson to pull away and get up the road.
Yeah, so now the gap has opened up, and we talked about this in the 4-stroke a lot, but right now, Deshong, Kim, all very close. Now it's going to allow Chen to stay within the battle here, but they're going to stay too wide. Actually, that was a very, very clean driver, especially at this young age. This is the absolute youngest class you can go for 2-stroke racing, and to see such a maturity level of these guys is very impressive.
Well, now they've all started. They're now single file, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. chasing our race leader. Now, this circuit is operated by Alan Rudolph, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Alan Rudolph worked for Bob Bondurant. Alan Rudolph has raced and won in karting all over the world. He is one of the United States key figures in terms of karting, in terms of driver development, driver coaching, and driver training. And there is a young lady who has emerged into the commentary box. She's wearing an Alan Rudolph Racing Academy shirt. Adam, this is your doing. So what I shall do, excuse me, young lady, that's there we go. I don't know your name. Adam will introduce our newest guest commentator for Micromax.
Yeah, so we've
Put your
got
handbags on,
we've got Abby Lidville up in the box with us now, who was a competitor in the 206 senior racing, one of the biggest class we had this week and very competitive. And how would you say that, this is as far apart as you can get? You have the micro, which is the youngest age group. You have senior, which is the oldest age group. You've got two-stroke. And actually, further on back, you have a bit of a switch in positions as, Hayden Sampson's going to stay ahead, but Sebastian Kim, that last lap, has the record for the weekend with a 59.1. He gains 4/10 that last lap on Hayden Sampson. So still a lot of racing left to go. You have 6.5 minutes plus 2 laps, and they're lapping at almost exactly a minute. So we might have the same situation that we had last race, where it's going to be a second margin coming across the line. So our flagman down there is going to have to stay on his toes, listen for the radio call, but a driver dipping a wheel off the track a little bit, but a little bit more spread out now. You have second place kind of opening up into a sea of his own, and third and fourth still battling it out. And Enzo is going to stay in that fifth position. Everyone's kind of where they started out a little bit, but Hayden Sampson is, this is still, I think I talked about this earlier with the mini class, but the biggest thing you need to have in this class is the ability to articulate how you feel in the karts and stuff like that. But as we get a bit more spread out, Abby, you were racing earlier today in the 206 senior. And yeah, we were talking about this is the furthest away from your racing you can get. You got 2-stroke versus 4-stroke, micro versus senior, but the concepts of racing are still the same. So if you're in that second position right now, a little bit behind, a little bit ahead, what would you kind of be doing to try to get up there?
I would definitely just try and get up there and push.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So actually, tell us a little bit about how the weekend went for you. You were in it was kind of the mid-pack of a very competitive, very large class. Everybody was very close together, and I know you had to probably avoid a couple incidents to stay alive that race.
Yeah, there were a few incidents at the first couple of starts, but thankfully I had a teammate in front of me, John Mayo, so me and him were able to push and work together, and we were able to pass a few guys that way.
Yeah, so teamwork is a very big thing, but back to the racing, you can see, again, JJ DeShong closing in on Hayden Sampson. Actually, right now, he is at the bumper, 6/10 gain that last lap, and it looks like he might be attempting a move down the inside for JJ DeShong, and it's going to be new leader of this race. Hayden Sampson falls down to second, JJ DeShong into first, with Baron Shen and Sebastian Kim staying put where they are. But right now, you see Enzo falling off a little bit from that group. Actually, Sebastian Kim was the leader of this race, and he still has the lap. He went fastest that last lap. So now everybody's back bunched up together. Not sure exactly what caused everybody to spread out. Maybe getting a little bit of a feel for the track and the conditions that it is. You're on different pressures to account for how long of a race this is. But now everybody's back in the mindset, back where they need to be, as JJ DeShong leads us away on lap 6 as the new leader of this race. And it looks like Hayden Sampson dropped down a significant amount. Baron Shen is on the bumper. So still anybody's race here to go. You've got 4 minutes plus 2. I'd say we got about 6 minutes of racing left to go in this final for Micromax, which Micromax, a very competitive 2-stroke class. You see a lot of times into actually move down the inside for Baron Shen, and that's going to be Hayden Sampson dropping back 2 positions as Sebastian Kim followed that move through, which that is a very heads-up thing to do for these drivers. So again, I talked about the maturity of these guys, and to be able to know to follow through on the move that you see being made ahead of you, a very important thing. But it's very the Micromax guys, very competitive at this young age, as JJ DeShong tries to pull a gap a bit, but looks like Baron Chen up into second position now is going to be closing in what he can. Gained 0.3 onto JJ that last lap as Hayden Sampson falls down to fourth position. Enzo also struggling to stay up with the pack a little bit, but we're still having good bit of racing to go. So, Abby, if you're Hayden Sampson right now, you were leading the race a couple laps ago, and now you're down into kind of the back of the lead pack. This happens all the time in 206. What would the mindset be for you here?
I would definitely just try and keep pushing harder. I'd be a little upset about it, but just try and get my head back into the game as soon as possible and keep pushing.
Yeah, the mindset is a very important thing here in this racing. It's like you have to develop those habits early on. You can't get any bad mindsets, but right now we have a battle back and forth a little bit for the lead. Baron Chen kind of on the bumper, on the exit, but I think he's going to play the patient game here, as we've seen many times before. So Baron Chen this whole weekend has not led the race, but he's always been in position. Actually, it looks like right now Sebastian Kim is looking to take that second position away. He had a look for a move into 3, 4, and 5, but didn't get it stuck. And now on the straightaway, a compromised exit is going to lead to Baron Chen holding on to sixth position. However, Sebastian Kim down the inside of turn 6, back into turn 7, is going to get the move done, and that's going to allow JJ DeShong to start to pull away more and more. Hayden Sampson and Baron Chen make a little bit of a rub with each other. I can hear at the radio right now. There's a little bit of a discussion about what exactly happened there, but definitely not what Baron Chen wanted to see. It might have been a bit of a commentator's curse right there, because the second we talk about why Baron Chen getting close to leading, but just not having it, and now to drop down to fourth position, third position, we're fighting for third. Very, very back and forth, but why should you always save your kind of best driving of the weekend for the final?
In my opinion, it's kind of like when the most pressure is on. So definitely trying to get the final locked in type of thing. As if, I'm not saying that the other ones don't matter, but this matters the most out of the whole weekend. So just trying to finish strong.
Yeah, and it's I know the luck between both of us as drivers has been kind of all over the place this season, but to just kind of always keep that mindset, keep your head down, not too much because you might crash into somebody, but JJ DeShong right now is doing just that, just pushing out all the laps that he can. As Sebastian Kim, you have we talked about it a little bit. You have this wide range of corners here. You have your fast sweepers, you have your tight hairpin braking zones, and you have your double apexes. You actually have 2 double apexes at this track, which I think you can really set up some good moves in these double apex corners. But there's a lot of this and karting in general where you have 2 drivers fighting here and there. But Abby, would you rather be the chase car, the lead car, because it's a different race completely for both?
Yeah, I would definitely say I prefer chasing, because you kind of have another person's line to go off of. You can, not the best way, but you can wait for them to kind of slip up and get that position back, or just pushing until the last lap.
Yeah, and we saw this a little bit with the taking a glimpse back to the Rotax Senior Max race, where Davis, Buck, Cameron Reed were kind of back and forth, and Buck gave a little bit of a blip. But right now, Sebastian Kim, to the point of this race, has a move done on the inside of JJ DeShong through turn 13, and he's going to hold it through. Now, this fighting needs to keep up a little bit longer for the third and fourth car of Hayden Sampson and Baron Chen to have a chance, but those two are fighting a little bit too. Now, Baron Chen, I think, is going to be a patient driver here, but we have 2 flags in the air by our wonderful flag marshals, and we are getting into the final stage of this race. Sebastian Kim has been the fastest this race, has been the fastest this weekend on pace, but can he hold the pace through as JJ DeShong takes a look into turn 6, but cannot get it done? Now, we've got this double apex I talked about. You have to set up a good exit here because you can really maximize the potential for a move down into turn 11. Because turn 11, you have that tight hairpin, you have the short straight, you have a little bit of a flick of the wheel, and JJ DeShong turns around on track a little bit too hard on the brakes, and that is going to be the end of the win contention for him. I think the kart is stalled out as well. So now Sebastian Kim is going to be floating away to the white flag, as there is a battle for second and third now. So now you have Baron Chen and Hayden Sampson on the podium, but this final lap is going to determine who's going to be on the slightly higher step. And it looks like JJ Chong got back going again, but still a very unfortunate race for him. You know, it just, we talked about the pressure, we talked about this back and forth, and it's always kind of pushing all that you can, but sometimes you push too much. I know you've been a part of some races where drivers are pushing too hard. And, you know, if you're Hayden Sampson, you're the best to capitalize on that. How does that work for you? All right, Baron Chen actually is going to jump ahead into second position. So they were kind of back and forth all race. Hayden Sampson is going to be now in third position, but can he get the move back as Sebastian Kim comes around the final couple of corners now to get the checkered flag waved by one of the own racers, Mace Lejek. Sebastian Kim is the winner in Micromax as Baron Chen takes P2 with Hayden Sampson in third. Enzo didn't have a lot of the same pace as the other drivers, but he managed to capitalize on just not making as many mistakes and is going to finish in fourth position with JJ Deschong. A lot of potential shown in this race, but just couldn't capitalize on it and is going to finish in fifth position. I definitely think we can see some valiant efforts from JJ Deschong in the next race, though, here at Speed Sports counterclockwise. But, you know, it's a lot about that mindset, you know. You have drivers ahead of you, and what's going through your head whenever you see a driver ahead of you kind of spin out and open the door for a potential podium?
I just try my hardest to like not spin out as well, and then hopefully make that pass, and then I'd be pretty excited about that reposition.
Yeah, so always minimize the mistakes and capitalizing on the excellence. Abby, thank you for joining us up here, and hope to see you have some good results in the next race, and
Hopefully.
we'll hear from you later. But right now, we are getting ready for the final race of the day, FC 125 shifter.
No, you talk too soon, Adam. It's
I
not
get a little
over
bit
yet.
excited.
You get a little bit excited. It's commentary box. We got 2 races to go. 2 races to go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Abby Lindvall. Somewhat reluctant co-commentator, but you did a fine job. Well done. And it's daunting. It's daunting, isn't it?
Scary.
Scary, she
I
said.
couldn't do it. I would want to read off the script.
What, you want to read off a script? No. This isn't the NFL. There's no script here. Sorry. Is that my gig with Fox Sports completely gone now? Yep. No. What about FIFA? There's no script here. The World Cup? No. There we go. Luckily, I'm quite good at this karting thing, so I've upset every other major sport in the country. Don't get me started on NASCAR and stage breaks. Deary me. Right. 2 races to go. Adam Nunes. And the first of them heading out now. We've got all 3 of our Max Masters and all 3 of our Club Max drivers. What is Club Max, I hear you ask? Well, Club Max, senior drivers, junior Rotax engines. Something that you would consider, Abby? She hasn't got a microphone on anymore, so a nod or a shake of the head. No, too far? 2 strokes? Too fast? Too fast, dearie me. Okay, Adam. So we've got Davis Barr and Adam Barr, the brothers. Then we have former First Sergeant, U.S. Army Lightning Linwood Mosley. Third, who has gone back out, his son Alex Mosley has already raced. Now we have, then behind them we have our 3 Club Max drivers. And I've got to say, the pre-final this morning, the 3 Club Max drivers provided one of the absolute best races of the day. Daniel Howie, Griffin Pew Pew, and Josh Norman. Now, Josh Norman has already got a podium finish to his name. Do you think that will help? You know, Josh Norman now go for the win?
Yeah, I think he might be a bit more. Actually, probably have the same aggression because he was still pretty on edge that last race he was in today. But as we go green right now for the 2 bars and Mosley, they are off and away, and it looks like they're going to go single file immediately. pretty good idea to do that. But now we have our club drivers right behind them getting ready to start off as we get the lights are out, and it looks like Griffin Pugh, Daniel Howie, and Josh Norman are off and away. Josh Norman a little bit aggressive, but is going to tuck back in. But up front, we have the leaders change. Adam Barr and Davis Barr are going to be side by side for 6, 7, and they're going to be single file for 8 and 9. But you talk about this corner a lot. This is almost your favorite corner, it seems like, as we've been commentating this weekend together. Lots of moves done here, lots of potential for some setup.
Yep, and for the first time all weekend in Max Masters, it's the red and white Birrell ART of Adam Barr, who leads his brother Davis Barr. What? Adam Barr, there's a joke there somewhere. The two Barr, but it's Adam Barr leading Davis Barr, the driver with the watermelon design on his crash helmet. Lightning Linwood is still there in third place. Now, I spy with my little eye a tactical manoeuvring. Being somebody that served this country in the armed forces, Lightning Linwood is no stranger to some tactical manoeuvring, what the army do best. And I think the lack of appearance. So Lightning Linwood has been somewhat sparing in his use of tyres, didn't go out in qualifying, went out in the heat race, retired, didn't come out in the pre-final, working on his son's kart, I'm sure. Now out in the final, but with about 25 laps fewer on his tyres. That could be critical, could it not?
I think it could, especially because, usually in some better conditions, the tires are a bit of a factor. The tires are always a factor. But in this heat that we're in and how fast it's going to wear down that tire tread, and especially how fast these corners are, you can see the rubber on track. You have corners that are almost a completely different color than they were at the start of this weekend. The tire health, the tire life is going to be a huge factor, and I think that might benefit him here. But also, the trade-off there is you don't get as much seat time in the conditions that you're going to be racing in for the final.
Very true.
So you have better tires, but you have less experience. So maybe, I don't know a lot about these drivers, but maybe there's some experience that he has that is going to come out in the end of this race. And again, the pressures, I always like to talk about the pressures here. I think if you can get those right, it's going to be the biggest payoff as opposed to lap difference in the tire health of that much. But you have further on back your Daniel Howie, Griffin Pugh, Josh Norman. They're all very close together. They're all battling very tightly, but none of them have kind of made the move just yet. And it seems like everyone's, a lot of these guys.
Playing nice, I think, is the term you're looking for. Playing nice.
I'd say that's probably an accurate term, especially because, we talked about micros being the youngest age group. This is not our youngest age group by a little bit.
It's our more experienced age group. It's the old farts.
I think experience is a nice
can
way
I say
to put
that?
it.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a family show. They're the old farts. And Adam Barr leading Davis Barr. I mean, the masters are the old farts. The Club Max drivers, they're just senior drivers with junior engines. Now, we've had two sets of siblings. Well, we've got several sets of siblings here. We've got the Knox sisters. Now we've got the Barr brothers. Davis Barr has pulled it, won the heat and the pre-final. Now Adam leads the main event. Lightning Linwood is still only 1.4 seconds off the race lead. 1.4 seconds is twice as much as what separates the three drivers in Club Max, because Howie, Pugh, and Norman are separated by just 7/10. Lightning Linwood could be pretty in a good situation. I mean, the two brothers, they're not going to take each other out, are they? Are they? He says, no, sure they're not. Who would when in racing have ever family members ever taken each other out in racing before? Answers on a postcard. Davis Barr looking to the inside now. There was the first flashpoint. But Adam Barr holds him off, the watermelon man.
Now, that's a title that usually belongs to Ross Chastain. I know you mentioned NASCAR
but
with less love than you did karting today, but still, we have a lot of back and forth here. And I think you can see, I know you were talking about this with the the interesting choice of race suits for the Masters and 4-stroke, but
We are, yeah, we're all in karting race suits. And now we've got our first real battle for the race lead. Through Switchback City, Davis Barr has a little nibble at the inside of his brother Adam Barr. I can't recall who is the older of the two brothers. I believe, well, it's a bit of a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Barr has more grey hair, but Davis Barr has no hair. Davis Barr, here or not, has a little look to the inside of his brother Adam, and his brother Adam closes the door. And closing in is now Linwood Mosley in third place. Meanwhile, coming out of the boots, Daniel Howie continues to lead in Club Max. They flick left and then hard right at turn number 14 across the front of the dummy grid. This is the penultimate race of the day here at the penultimate round of the 2026 Texas Karting League season. And our three masters, well, Davis Barr, he made one move, Adam Barr rebuffed it, and now Davis Barr has got to go back to the drawing board a little bit because suddenly Adam Barr has opened up a bigger advantage. We've still got 5.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. This is a case of everybody at the moment is just sitting in a holding pattern. The three Club Max drivers are just cruising around. I say cruising around, they're not. They're full chat, but they're following. No one's making a move. Norman is content to sit behind Pugh, who's content to sit behind Howie. Howie is just grateful that he hasn't got carts attacking him left, right, and centre with still 5 minutes plus about half race distance to go. Temperatures, ladies and gentlemen, it has reached 3:55 p.m.
yeah, and walking the track yesterday, walking the track today, especially, you can really feel all that rubber sticking to your shoe. It could be the heat, but also with how much everyone's been on the track this weekend. Because at Texas Karting League, they have, I believe, there was Thursday practices as well.
Yes, there was. Yes.
And then you had your Friday practice, your Saturday practices, your warm-ups, your heat races.
Yep.
So there's, lots of opportunity for some good track time here, as opposed to some other Texas regional series. But going through now, you have the other Masters guys right now, and fastest lap of the race last time by was Davis Barr. Is going to set the fastest lap this time by as well.
But he's closing in. He's closing in.
Is closing in slowly, and hopefully, for the case of Lightning Linwood, you're going to want these guys to fight more and more, maybe fight each other off the road. A little bit extreme, but that's based on the current gap. You need something to really slow them down with a gap of 3 seconds. Now, you see a lot of dust being kicked up this weekend, or a lot of dust on the exits of turn 11, especially going into turn 12. And I think it's really people really pushing themselves to the limit here. As you mentioned, the 2-strokes a lot more physical. So these guys a little bit higher in the age group, but hopefully they've been staying hydrated because, that could be a big factor here.
Yeah, no, indeed. So the Masters category for drivers aged 32 and over. In the case of the Bars and Lightning Linwood, that's 32 plus tax and more tax and a tip, a 20% tip, I would say. None are in the first fountain of youth. However, karting has kept all three of them very fit, very athletic. Karting is keeping these gentlemen in shape. And I say that without any disrespect. I'm not mocking them in any way. These 2-stroke Rotax Max karts, these are the full spec senior engines. Slight weight difference in class weight to account for the fact that, as you get older, you generally get heavier, But Lightning Linwood crossing the line, giving his hands a breather. There is the problem. Yes, Lightning Linwood has fresher tyres. But no, Lightning Linwood does not know what it is like to now run 11 consecutive laps here in the baking sunshine. I said we would get a temperature check. The weather in New Caney, 96 degrees. with the humidity factor, it still feels like, and I am looking like, the feels like 101 still. Ooh. Davis Barr, that watermelon paint job on his crash helmet, well, the watermelon would have melted. However, Davis Barr, his challenge has not melted because he is still sitting just behind his brother. I think Linwood Mosley, who's now waving at the race director as he goes by. I mean, I've got to say, I love the Masters category. In karting, there is an awful lot that is said about, oh, karting is a kid's sport now. It's not for adults, or the karting doesn't care about adults. Well, the FIA, yeah, they don't care about adults. FIA karting is all about getting the kids into their paddock at the age of 12 until about 15 and then shipping them into the nearest FIA Formula 3 team, you know, to continue that money gravy train the FIA have got. But proper karting is about the adults. And yeah, are they going to be Formula 1 drivers in the future? No. Do they care? No. The Masters, they're here having fun. They want to participate in their chosen sport at the highest level of professionalism that they can at their age and with their budget. They've got families that do this. Lightning Linwood, his son is racing. He's still waving at the race director. And when he said, please, can you technical flag me? I'm tired and I don't want to quit. Can you give me a reason to pit before the end? Man is tired. Man is tired, he's saying. Now we got a battle over the race lead. The Masters drivers are the biggest characters in our paddock. Some of them are our longest serving drivers. Some of our Masters started racing Rotax as juniors back in the day. And they support the brand. They support the sport. They give so much entertainment on and off track. It is vital that karting retains its place for the Masters category. Now, I know in Scusa at Supernats, there's a big thing about the KZ Masters. Lightning Linwood is having a wave to everyone. There we go. He sees the 2 laps to go and praises the flagman for waving 2 laps in the air. This is why Masters are so important to karting. Right then, let's get down to it. 2 laps to go. We've had our 12-minute preamble. Yeah, the Master shifters at the KZ, there's been a thing about them at Scusa. But believe it or not, these are the best of our sport, these Masters category. Now, the Club Max drivers, let's talk about them. At the moment, Adam Barr leads Davis Barr by half a second. Lightning Linwood hanging on literally. Here's the Club Max drivers. Daniel Howie continues to lead Griffin Pugh and Josh Norman. They were within about a couple of inches of each other as they were cruising round. Now, believe it or not, the fact there's a kart length between each one of them means it's game on. They're now pressing on. White flag in the air. Howie leads Pugh, leads Norman. 1 to go in Club Max. But coming out of Switchback City for the final time, Adam Barr. He will finally get one over on his brother Davis Barr, potentially through the boot for the final time. As they go through the boot, I'm looking at the Club Max drivers heading into turn number 6. No change of order, but they are really close. Here we go. Across the line, Adam Barr will win Max Masters from Davis Barr. Daniel Howie continues to lead. Club Max into the boot. Pugh is right there. So is Norman. We're going to wait. Lightning Linwood hanging out of his cart virtually will make it to the end. And Griffin Pugh, 2 corners to go. Griffin Pugh takes the lead in Club Max. Or does he? Howie on the outside. It's a drag race. Howie takes the win by 0.02 of a second over Griffin Pugh. Josh Norman third, 0.2 of a second down. Now that 6 carts, 2 classes, 3 carts in each. They saved the excitement right for the end. That's senior driving. Because, of course, if they had gone out and started knocking 7 different colours of you-know-what out of each other on laps 1, 2 and 3, then there would have been a whole lot of empty tarmac for us to talk about over the last 10 minutes. Instead, they waited. Smart, tactical driving, and they produced a grandstand finish. Well, it is now time for the final race of the day. This one might be, again, and I'm looking down at the scale line. And again, the Masters drivers, they're laughing and joking and they're having a good time. They're having fun, which is what this sport is all about, correct?
Yeah, it's it's also a very good practice because someone like Brandon Green, I don't know if he's done a SCUSA race yet, but I know that this is something that he probably wants to do in the future, maybe in the near future. And this is a track that SCUSA comes to consistently.
Yep.
So, to get the laps in here, to get the practice here is going to be very good for his career, very good for the development. Now, hopefully it doesn't stall out. I know that's been an issue this weekend a couple times, but I can't really talk much about it because I've never sat in a shifter kart, but hopefully the start goes well for him this time around.
They are intimidating and scary. I will tell you that. That's what shifter karts feel like for the first time you sit in one. And then you realize it's okay. It's still got 4 wheels, 1 on each corner. It's got a steering wheel. Oh, there's this stick I've got to pull and push a few times every lap, but that's absolutely fine. You get used to that.
And you get more brakes.
And you get more brakes. You get front brakes as well, which is also the get out of trouble pedal. The brakes is the get yourself out of trouble pedal. It's going to be a standing start. The number 61 TB kart of Brandon Green will start alongside the number 88 kart of Taylor Roddy. The number 941 kart of Stephen Hester will be third. The key question is, can Brandon Green get it off the line? 1 light, 2 light, 3 red, 4 red, lights out, green flag waves, and Brandon Green gets off the start line like a cat with a rocket strapped to its backside. And Stephen Hester even tries to go around the outside of Taylor Roddy, and Hester then runs onto the grass, as is his wont on the first lap of most races. The 4th driver that was supposed to be in this class is currently marshalling on the outside of Switchback City, Bobby Klein. Bobby Klein, I met Bobby, and I've only just realised where I met Bobby. Bobby is a young driver, young marshal. He, at the Rotax Winter Trophy, the second event, the second weekend in February, start of this year, there was, the day before practice started, there was due to be a meeting of marshals and officials. Well, of officials. Bobby, I don't know if there was a slight bit of confusion. He was due to marshal that weekend, but he saw there was an officials meeting. He turned up a day early to listen to the meeting, so he knew what he had to do on the circuit. And at any kart race meeting, there are 1,000,001 jobs to do, as you know, Adam. And you don't always end up doing the jobs that you originally signed up for, as he says, looking at his microphone, not realizing he was going to commentate this weekend. But Bobby ended up helping out in so many ways. What a diligent young man he is. When his kart broke yesterday, or the day before yesterday, did he sulk? Well, no. Did he go off in a huff and think, well, there we go, that's my weekend over? No. He goes and asks, can he marshal, and sits out on a marshal post all day. It was such a late call for him to marshal that when he went out originally, he didn't take any water with him. And there, Tim the medic, about halfway through warm-up on Saturday, Tim the medic suddenly goes bursting onto the circuit because that marshal, was feeling a little bit woozy and lightheaded. That was Bobby Klein. who has then decided to put in 2 full days. And Adam, you have just mentioned that he has the Ayrton Senna crash helmet that I haven't missed. So I've been, no, this is a tough one, Adam. I've been to 30, this is my 32nd meeting. I said this is only the 2nd meeting where there's been no Ayrton Senna replica crash helmet. Well, there is, technically. It's just not on track because the cart broke. The driver that owns the Senna replica crash helmet is on track. He's not wearing it because he's marshalling. Oh, that's a technical. I'm going to have to go to the Judicial Board of Review. And I have got, nope, that is it. I haven't seen it. So the Judicial Board of Review, also known as CABE, has spoken. And so that is still no Senna replica crash helmets on track this weekend. But Bobby Klein is, and karting needs more young people like that, willing to put themselves out to stand on post, to earn a bit of extra money, even when their cart does a race. Do you not agree?
Yeah, it's always good to have these excellent volunteers out there. I know every race, in fact, throughout all of motorsport. Now, my opinion on this is a bit varied, but no marshals get paid in any of the series that I'm aware of. I believe all the FIA stuff is volunteer marshaling. You know, it's a bit here and there, but to have people willing to kind of put themselves in a little bit of danger, because you know not all marshalling is safe, especially whenever you have some.
Well, you speak to the marshal of the Australian Grand Prix that was killed by Jacques Villeneuve's flying car. You speak to the marshal that was killed at Monza by a tyre off an errant Formula One car. You speak to the marshal that was killed at Brands Hatch on the outside of Paddock Bend by a flying car. You speak to the marshal that was killed by Alan McNish's Formula 3000 car at Donington Park going on 30 years ago. You speak to the marshals that were killed at the Le Mans 1955 tragedy. You speak to them, well, you hear the marshals who were killed at the Goodwood Festival of Speed many years ago. Marshalling is an inherently dangerous job because you are on the circuit with the carts or the vehicles. Everybody else is behind barriers. In karting, the marshals are the only people not behind barriers. There was an incident at Kartmasters last year where 2 junior drivers went and hit the bridge, hit the abutment under the bridge. The incident marshal in question, an 18-year-old incident marshal by the name of Ryan, ran up the bridge into oncoming traffic because he could see one of the drivers was unconscious in their cart. He risked his life and ended up saving the life of that driver. So the marshals are the most important people in all of motorsport. Luckily, in this race, the marshals have not had to do anything. Why are we talking about the marshals and not the track action? Because quite frankly, there isn't much track action going on. Brandon Green got the jump at the start and has pulled out a 2.5 second lead over Taylor Roddy. Roddy is doing a better job than he did before of keeping Brandon Green honest. Stephen Hester is already 17 seconds back. This is the 6-speed shifter class that has only come into karting this year. It's not been a highlight in terms of the intense race action, but will not take anything away from Brandon Green. It's not been a highlight because Brandon Green hasn't let it become a highlight. He is kept out of the way, even when he has stalled, even when he struggles to get this car off the line, as he did yesterday in the heat race. He has then been dominant. Taylor Roddy, you've got to feel for Taylor. He is just plodding away. He's working. He's getting quicker because he's getting closer to Brandon Green. Now, I am sure that when we come back here in October for the counterclockwise round on the championship finale of the Texas Karting League, then Taylor Roddy, if this class returns, and I'm sure it will, I'm sure Taylor Roddy will be even quicker. So Brandon Green will have to keep pushing. and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Taylor Roddy will always keep pushing and pushing. We go through Switchback City. Now, we're coming towards the end of this race meeting. We'll have the podium presentation afterwards. But the track is now two distinct different colours. You've got the colour of the circuit on the straights. That is a light grey. That is the bitumen, the asphalt, the standard colour of this circuit. Every single corner is now almost jet black with the amount of rubber that has been laid down. The outside of every single corner is no longer flat because it is coated, and I mean coated, with marbles. The bits of rubber thrown off the tyres through the corner. The various tyre compounds used this weekend, we have got, I believe, Mojo, Avenco, Husia, Avencos and Husias I've seen on the various different types of carts. That rubber, those tyres have stood up remarkably well because the bits are just getting thrown off them. They're taking so much abuse. Half of the rubber is in the apex of the corners because the circuit is now two distinct different colours. And then looking at turn number 13 in front of us, you know, the outside of the corner, and that is maybe, Adam, why we're seeing overtaking opportunities being a little bit more of a premium, possibly. You're looking at lap times of the pro shifters here at SCUSA against these carts. What can you tell us about the difference in lap times between the pro shifters and the FZ125s?
Yeah, so right now you've got Brandon Green running a solid.
He's running a solid 53.5, his best lap of this race.
Yeah, 53.5 best lap, which compared to the likes of Justin White, Jay Irwin, Billy Musgrave with a 50 flat, you know, speed difference a little bit much. But you also have to keep in mind, this is results from January when the conditions were a little bit better than they are currently.
So you would say that the conditions in January were better here. Is that what you're saying? Even in the cold, track conditions are better than now? I'm getting some nods up here. So I would say maybe 2.5 to 3 seconds. The difference in lap times between a pro shifter and an FZ125 shifter.
Yeah, so it's you know, very Brandon Green could, you know, it's a lot of hypotheticals, but you could see him have the pace if he were to take his shot at some Winter Series stuff or some Pro Series. But it looks like, sounded like a little bit of a weird shift for someone on track just now.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's hope the mice. Hang on a second. Brandon Green continues to lead. Taylor Roddy was a little bit slow there. I wonder, you said there may be a miss shift. Well, we've got 45 seconds to go, plus 2 laps. Let's follow Brandon Green around a lap of this circuit because we're coming towards the end of this 2 days of audio broadcasting, old school radio style. I know people like pictures. Well, we have painted the pictures. Green crosses the line. He moves to the right-hand side of the circuit, sweeps left, then right, then left again. Through the sweepers, onto the brakes at turn 4. Right, up through the gears again, through the second right at turn 5. Now, flat chat, top gear, down the back straight, hard on the brakes, down through the box. He turns right, slight bit of banking, slight bit of camber at the entrance of Switchback City. You've then got to set the cart up for a left-hander, then 2 more right-handers, which Green is now through. Sweeps the cart out wide, cuts across, puts the far chicane into one corner at turn 11, and then the boot out of turn 12 through turn 13, left again. All the marbles on the outside. It's a one-line racetrack through turn number 13. You then set the kart up on the brakes for the last 180-degree right-hander out through turn number 14. In front of the now almost empty dummy grid because there are no karts waiting to go out. This is the last race of the day. You flash right onto another lap. That was Brandon Green. He leads Taylor Roddy by 5 seconds. What have you made of your first time commentating at a track on kart racing with no pictures to go off, Adam?
You got to be a lot more aware of what's happening on track. It's, in my position, it's a little bit back and forth because also sometimes the stream doesn't want to do what you want it to do.
Yes.
But
apologies for that, but Adam has been working tirelessly.
But for the commentary side, you kind of have to describe everything that's happening, not just your usual race commentary. That's because no one can see what you see. No one can get the same picture. Now, obviously, to the people that can hear us on the PA system, they have probably even a better view because they have a bit more of that turn 3 and 4 action in sight. But still, for the commentary, for the people watching this, I know I've seen one of my own friends that was had other people watching this. Everyone has family, and to be able to at least give an idea of what's happening through this race for those family members or friends that just couldn't make the race. But we've got a white flag in the air as Brandon Green is coming through the final sector of this racetrack. White flag goes in the air for Stephen Hester, but Brandon Green going into the final 2 corners now to take a very dominant win. Brandon Green, round of applause. Checkered flag is the winner here at TKL, Texas Karting League Round 4, with Taylor Roddy right behind him. A little bit of back and forth between those guys all weekend. Some people had better results, some people had different, but it was a great show put on by everyone here. Every class was competitive, especially in like some of those other classes, you could really see anybody's race till the end. But, Shifter, very good for everyone to get that experience here at a track like Speed Sports.
Yes, indeed. We wait now. Stephen Hester, who made this class possible by deciding to enter because you have to have a minimum of 3 karts. He comes in to the final corner. He will be the last kart to cross the finish line and take the double checkers here at Speed Sports this weekend. Round 4 of the 2026 Texas Karting League comes to an end. It's going to be the biggest ever entry that this championship has had. And when you consider that in January 2025, Brandon Green is attempting a donut on track and has stalled. So we won't mention the fact that he's... And it's not as though he went onto the start-finish straight and then tried to do a donut in front of everybody whilst we're still commentating. No. We won't mention that. We won't mention that for the second time, Leo, our start marshal, is now pushing him. And quite rightly so, Brandon Green decides, discretion, the better part of valor. In January 2020, in fact, in March 2025, Texas Karting League existed only on paper. It didn't have a single entry. Not a single race had ever been run. You fast forward 16 months and over 120 drivers have gathered to support this championship. Why? Because there are a plethora of series in this state, in this region that you could go and race in. Why? Because I have to say, and I say this not because I've been brought out here again, because I see karting around the world. I see karting, different championships, different countries every single week. Why have people supported the Texas Karting League? Because the Texas Karting League is trying to teach drivers the right way. Be professional. Be on time. Present yourselves well. We will police your races properly. We will not be kind of like, you're okay, get away with it. No, that doesn't help drivers. Drivers, their teams, they need to be told what to do, how to do things, and then judged and officiated correctly on circuit. We're not, okay, we'll let it slide this time. No, it's a penalty. I know you may not like it, but it teaches you, and you won't make the same mistake again. Because John, Jody Mueller, Mike Edwards, Heather Underwood, Kay, Brandon, Mason, Ali, yourself, Adam, the rest of the crew that makes up this championship, I think you've decided to do things. You want to help young American talents and old American talents progress in the right way. You've all stood by and watched American drivers succeed on a global scale and then get excluded twice at the grand finals. In the last 3 years, Team USA have lost grand finals championships because the people involved hadn't quite read the rule book and they realized, oh, well, it'll be okay. They'll let it slide. It doesn't matter. It's only 10 mil of gear oil. It's only 1 mil on the rear width. Not at all. When you move out of your American karting bubble into the big wide world, you'll realize that no, it doesn't fly. This championship is preparing drivers, their families, and their teams to do things the right way. Podiums will take place at 4:30 p.m. So, on behalf of everybody at the Texas Karting League, on behalf of everybody at Speed Sports Racing Park, Houston's high-speed playgrounds, this has been a Texas Karting League production of Round 4 of the 2026 TKL Championship. Intergalactic Derby number 2 is in the books. Thank you very much.